Hello and welcome to our latest podcast episode. My name is Diggs and I'm joined once again by Peter, Stevo and Veddy. It's been a while since our last podcast. I think, lads, we can all blame Resident Evil 4 Remake for that. So,
yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Two guesses as to what our topic is tonight. So, I'd say we've all kind of played the game to death at this point. So we just get everybody's kind of overview. So, I guess like for me personally, I think what blew me away first time. So just kind of context, I didn't really watch any trailers or play the demo, the chainsaw demo or anything like that there. So I think the first thing that blew me away was the graphics. I think the RE engine is one of the best game engines around. And I think Resident Evil 4 Remake proves that. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, me too.
I did the same as yourself.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing. Jesus, Steve, stop stepping on my lines, bro. I wait a third. You're like the guy at the butcher's that's pulling 2 tickets to get ahead. Come on.
Make this get fed.
Yeah.
God, Steve, I'll be a gen for once.
You know
The same as yourself, things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just went in cold and basically didn't watch any trailers, didn't look at anything on the internet, and graphics wise, everything. I just went in, played the game, and from that, I enjoyed it even more. Like just like yourself.
Yeah, because everything's like brand new to you, basically, and that's what I like about the Resident Evil games. I don't like spoiling anything, and I just love the element of surprise then when I get it.
Absolutely.
It's like, like that first scene where, obviously you have the intro, but when you first start to get to play as Leon and you're going through that dense hedging and all the way up to the house, like that's like one of the best looking level designs I've seen in any game.
Oh,
Absolutely, so eerie.
It is. You know, it was kind of mad, Diggs. Me and you both started playing the game at the same time.
At the exact same time. There was maybe 5-second difference.
Like literally, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "What? Don't tell me." He's like, but it was like you say, visually amazing, and like you were even taking. I find myself going in the rooms and just stopping. I don't know if any of you did this, just stopping and just taking in the detail, like not even doing it.
Yeah, I did that quite a bit as well. Yeah, just in awe of everything. Like,
yeah. What's the first cabin was the hunter's cabin? Am I right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I think I spent 20 minutes just in there alone.
Yeah.
And when you first came up to it, you were just like, holy, this looks like incredible. Like the detail and the visuals and how graphic it is as well with the violence.
yeah,
It was just amazing. And I loved that, in terms of the original game, it's sort of like didn't veer too far from the original.
Yeah.
But I loved how they kind of rejigged that first house and the next steps after that down into the actual village. And I just thought I just loved that. I didn't want it to be like for like, one for one in detail. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
I think I think it took me about 45 minutes to reach the village because I was just exploring so much. Looking at details.
You did, because even when I was in the hunter's cabin, like obviously when we got to the basement, I was like, oh geez, when all this stuff was going on in the basement, and you're coming upstairs and typical me, no ammo left in the gun. I'm just like, oh, Jesus. So I was like having like to be very tactical. So by the time you were like exploring, I was probably having like, the crap sweats because I was worrying about ammo and
Crap sweats.
Dude, literally, I was like, because trying to like, but in saying that though, by the time you did get to the village, like, I think it was after like I finished the game as well. I truly was like, wow, that was a key moment there. Like the story was jigged in such a way that it flowed so much better. And everything it was tighter. And when you look back at the key set piece moments of the game, you never once felt like, oh, here we go doing this again. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like that at all.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, I when I played it now, let my anticipation get the better of me when they done that showcase about a month before the game was released, I ended up playing the Chainsaw demo, because once they announced it and then it went live in the store, it got the better of me, so I went and played it. Yeah. And you know what, I'm actually, in some ways, I know you can kind of hold out and wait for the game, but I'm actually glad that I did, because for me, it didn't really spoil the game as such, because the one thing I did learn from playing that demo was, especially with the likes of the weapons, and your enemies were barely even flinching when you were shooting them, and I died the very first time I played it. I got ripped apart by the chainsaw guy, and I was just like, damn, this is going to be one tough game. Like, I was like, it was really tough the first time I played. I was like, whoa. I remember like Resident Evil 2 Remake being tough, but not to this extent. This was on a totally different level.
I agree.
So are you the only one here that played the demo?
No,
You played it, right? So in terms of the demo, like, what was it? Just a village scene where basically,
it's
with
just really the village
from the game, was it the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. I felt there was differences though in the
What weapons did you have?
Sure, you had the
Just a handgun?
The pistol, and you got the shotgun later. Yeah, you could get.
Oh yeah.
as well.
Yeah, there was a trick. There was a trick to getting the TMP. You had to remove all of the items from your inventory and literally run into the village, run past everybody, and then that hidden well would open up at the back of the houses.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I forgot that the shotgun's in the house, right? It's on the picture frame.
yeah.
Kind of akin to Resident Evil 1, right? Mansion.
I think I hold the most embarrassing death in Resident Evil history.
What?
Another one.
Yeah, another one. I was playing it. This isn't the demo, this is the game. And Chainsaw Guy's coming towards me, right? And I'm like low health because I've been getting tomahawked the entire,
Yeah.
This is before I discovered if you parry, it'll just ping off, right? And I see the Chainsaw Guy, I'm lining my shot up, I'm like ready to make me last stand. Yeah, a cow got set on fire and trampled me to death. Charged out of the barn, and I was like, oh my god.
That happened to me on the professional playthrough. My last professional playthrough, that actually happened to me. I didn't die. I barely got through with my life, but I mean, the cow literally followed me the whole way around the village. He kept chasing after me. I was like, get the fuck away from me.
This is the animals. And
I was standing directly, like, flush with the barn. Like, he was looking at me, just wait. It was like Edge lining up the spear, man. He was just waiting. And I'm sitting there going, I'm going to get you, Chainsaw. What the?
Oh man,
That's a deliberate tactic in the game that developers put in, right? That you set the cow on fire, and it's supposed to. Ideally it's supposed to go nuts and trample the villagers.
yeah. Well, that's to say, you never expect it to come after you as well.
Not for me. I was almost.
But it's a nice touch, isn't it? That they have that kind of
It is.
tactical kind of like element to the game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's good too because you can, not to touch on that part, but I won't say it in case we cover it later. There was sort of what you would call environmental things like that, or like a cow charging at you or different things. You could use that to your advantage against enemies. I found later on in the game.
Yeah.
Like, when you deal with the guys, the Wolverine dudes.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
I used to do when I would walk into a room and it was full of bad guys, I'd stand right beside the bell that I'm going to shoot, and the guys would come to me, and then I would go ding, and your boy charges, and they're all dead. That's it. I would just move out of the way, and he would just slice them all up, and then I meant I was saving ammo. For once, I was being ammo conscious.
So, but that's the strategy. That's the right way to go.
Yeah.
That's the right way to go.
Yeah.
But one question for you is,
Yeah.
right, myself and yourself, Diggs, we didn't play the demo. Freddie, Smith, you did. Now, by playing the demo, now, me personally, I want to go in blind, say I want to see it all firsthand. But with just playing the demo, did it ruin the game for you in any way? I know it's not going to ruin the whole game because you wouldn't play a snippet of it, but did it ruin anything of it for you?
No,
You go first, Meats. Yeah.
no, I genuinely, I thought it would have done, but no, I actually really enjoyed that because I went back to play it quite a few times. And then after a while, you would unlock that super difficult mode where it was almost like professional mode on steroids, like where you had the super chainsaw guy where he was super strong, and even with that, when you were in that house at the start, you know the way that the first enemy would come down after you. I remember 3 of them came after me. I was like, what the? I literally crapped myself. I died in that bit because I was like, what the hell? There's no way I can do this. And I had the machine gun at the time and I still couldn't kill them. And I was like, oh, this is just ridiculous.
The super chainsaw guy you're talking about, do you mean, was he any different, or was he just strong?
He was stronger, but not only that, you double or triple the amount of enemies in one part than you would have normally as well. And they were 3 times tougher and do ridiculous, like, you know the way the damage that they would do on professional mode when you're playing the full game. Like, you may as well just triple that in the demo in that mode. They just, as soon as they get you, you were dead literally in 2 seconds. You know, snap your neck, gone. That was it. It was crazy. There was lads, a load of lads now finished that demo. I was like, fair facts to you, because there's no way I could do it.
You platinum a fucking game, they can't finish this demo. What's wrong with you?
I didn't platinum the game. I still can't get past the freaking shooting range. I can't finish them. They're too difficult for me.
Dude. Oh, the shooting range.
That's a whole different. Yeah.
We'll come back, we'll touch on that later.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that later.
What about you, Eddie, though? What do you think?
The
Could you
demo.
keep continuing on, and play it as it didn't?
I played it twice. The first time I played it, I was just sort of like reacting. You know what I mean? Reacting to what was going on. I was like, all right, okay. And I felt I sort of went through it too quick. So I was like, right, I'll play it again so I can, because I kind of know what's coming. So now I'll play it and take in more to what's going on. Because the last time I was like, I got to get in the house. I got to dodge this guy, da. Well, when I was playing it the second time, again, I don't know, the enemies felt different though when I played them in the game. Maybe I'm just remembering it differently. But I felt when I played them in the game, they were smarter. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I felt these ones weren't as... Because you would line the shot up and they wouldn't move. Like, they would just come walk straight at you, right? But when I went on the game and you line the shot up, they're obviously, like in Resident Evil 4, they would move. But they were moving different. The extra pep to their step, you know? And it was... no, it didn't really experience at all for me, like, because, like I say, it's such a small window, and like you don't do the hunter's cabin and all at the start, which really I think sets the tone for the game very early on. Like, you know, when you walk in and he's like, especially when you look at, like, if you were to put Resident Evil 4 side by side, when you look at the GameCube one, it's so bright and it's all, you know, it's in the daytime, isn't it?
Yeah.
Daytime?
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like when you get into the room, it's even kind of bright and well lit. But when you get to this room, it's dark, it's
eerie.
dying.
Yeah.
And then when you have to go to the basement as well, it did give me very Silent Hill vibes in the basement with the torch, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's what I wanted to actually bring up, was the transition. You know, at the start of the game, it's sort of like, I felt like the very beginning of the game when you're walking down into the hunter's cabin, it was like darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come out of it, you're starting to see, like, it's like dusk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
And I just thought the transition throughout the time, you know, at certain stages of the game, like when it gets to nighttime again, I just thought it looked amazing, actually. You know?
Perfectly.
Yeah. Like, you go to when you get to the church the first time, you've got that lovely kind of like pinky, you know, sky.
Yeah, it's like the shepherd's sky at night.
Yeah, type thing, yeah.
Reddy hue, yeah.
And I think, am I right in saying when you come back out of it then, or when you rescue Ashley, it's nighttime at that point, right? Oh, no, wait, is that the lake? Is it the lake it transitions to nighttime?
Yeah, it does, because you pass it.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because you have to go to the church first, then the lake's behind the church, and then by the time you're coming back there, Ashley, it's darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's just I thought visually it was stunning that way, you know. I was almost like, at one point I just kind of stood there, looked up and just kind of like moved the analog stick to have a look around. I was like, I couldn't get over how beautiful the game was.
That's
you know?
the best part about it. Is you just didn't even have to play the game. Obviously, playing the game was absolutely fantastic, but just visually, just looking around, as you said, there are things just to move the analog stick and just look around it.
Just admire the work that was done. I remember I had that with do you remember Eddie Red Dead 1?
Oh yeah,
Like Red Dead transitioning from daytime to nighttime and all that there. And there was parts of that game like you're just in Wild West and you just did stop and just look at it and be like, holy shit, this game.
I know it's completely off topic, right? But I remember almost getting killed in Red Dead 2, and Jay, you know, my friend from Newcastle, literally killing himself laughing. I'm sitting on the back of his horse because my horse, we were hunting bears at the time, so we're in the forest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I see all these fireflies. I'm like, oh, that'll be a class photo and all. Oh, that'll be a class photo. And I got off to pull out my camera to take in the photo, right? And I saw all the air was, fucking bears coming charging through the. And dude, all I had was 2 double barrels, right? And it went boom, 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 and it killed us. And it slid past me and past Jay's feet. And all you could hear was him dying. And he goes, Evangeline for Princess and the Frog. He was like, Mom, Evangeline. And he was just taking the mick out of me because he's like, you stopped to look at fireflies and you almost get out alive, you dummy. Just. But again, when the game does something so good,
Yeah.
like the little details, man.
Yeah, you can't help but admire it. Yeah.
You can't help but admire, like,
Yeah.
just the game had the atmosphere, like, even during the daytime, you were like, oh, this is kind of scary, because, and I think that's what they tried to do with Resident Evil 5, but didn't achieve it, but they definitely got it right here with 4, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just visually stunning, and even just the work that the development team, like replicating the different sets of the different areas of the village and all that, it's just incredible. Even like when you went to the cabin afterwards, where you finally meet Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, that, for me now, that was different than the original. I know, like, you still had that cabin in the middle with the roof broken in and the trip mines and stuff like that there. But it was just nicely done, I thought, you know, because correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no access to the lake in that area in the original, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm trying to remember that myself.
Because you know the way, like, you later in the game, you can do a bit of backtracking and you can come back to that area where you first meet Louis. There's a wee kind of like dock there for your boat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm correct in saying in the original Resident Evil 4, there was literally just the dock to take you onto the next stage of the game for progression, and then you had the other one where it was like a cave, right?
Yeah.
It took you back where the Americans.
Yeah, it didn't have as many areas.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the lake in this one.
Yeah.
Like, just moving along.
There's a lot more variety.
Oh, it felt like a Resident Evil open world game. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, no, I just loved the little bit of backtracking in the village. I really enjoyed that. You know, I know there's more of it further on in the game too.
You know what caught my attention was when I went to the actual pause the game, went to map, and obviously I had the treasure map thing from you know, being a pre-order.
Yeah.
When I zoomed out, I was like, whoa, this is massive.
It is, yeah.
I couldn't believe how big it was, and I was like, holy crap, this is going to take me forever. And like, you're zooming out and like, it's like, how do I even get here and how do I get there? And it was just, I was blown away even by like looking at the map and the scale of things. It was like, this is good. You know, I was excited even just by looking at a map, you know?
Yeah.
Backtracking was brilliant because you think about the amount of treasures in the game. So when you get so far, and then you look at the map and you get a treasure map and you go, oh, I missed this and missed that. But revisit them locations, get the treasures that you needed, obviously, to get fun.
Yeah. I
so good.
I agree, like, because like when I think of like in context of the amount of time I spent playing the game from when I first played, I remember Dig when I was playing and you jumped online with me for about a half an hour it was on the Thursday night, and I played it for about an hour and a half, and then I literally got up at 9:30 the next morning and I played it all the way right through till probably about 1 or 2 that morning. And then got up again, went to play it again at 10:30 and didn't stop playing until 7:30 that night. So I literally sat for 2 days and played the game. Because when you take into context, when you go through everything that the game has to offer, and not only that, when you're, like I said, we were talking about, when you're stopping and taking everything in, you're taking in the environments, you're being aware of your surroundings, and just really being methodical in how you're approaching everything, and just exploring. To be honest, like, that in itself was an experience, like, and it was amazing. Now, in saying that, by the time the game finished, I was exhausted. I was glad it was over, but at the same time, I wasn't. I just wanted to keep going because there was so much in the game that I was enjoying it that much. You didn't want it to end, really, because it was so much in it. It was phenomenal. For me, it's in the last 3 or 4 years, it's the best game I've played, hands down, without a doubt, since the Resident Evil 2 remake, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I loved staying on the topic of backtracking. Like, on my first playthrough, I didn't really like look into like the different areas of the lake. So I missed, the bit in the center where it's like a
boat,
capsized boat. Yeah, like I missed that. Like, and I missed the giant fish you can get.
Oh, that's the boat where you get the red 9, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you want to know how I discovered that boat? Fell asleep.
Crash into it.
Yeah, we fell asleep, and I woke up and my control pad went grab. I was like, "Oh, was that the boat?"
I'm here. I'm arrived.
At that point, I got out and had a look around. I was like, "Yeah, need to get and save my game now."
Silent travel.
Yeah. But no, it's class. Like, as I said, there's more areas on the lake, which you're right, Freddy, in what you're saying. It's almost like giving you a little taste of open world, isn't it? Like, you can go this way if you want. There's an option over here too.
Yeah.
And do you know what I actually really liked? I loved when you go back to the area where you first met Lewis, where he's in the body bag type thing under it. There's a gate over there that I missed completely in my first playthrough.
What? There's a gate?
Oh, have you not seen this?
No.
It's to the cabin where Lewis is. It's over to the left hand side of that.
Oh yeah, there is, because that's the ritual altars in there. From what you see at the start of the game.
You can get back to that through the lake.
Yeah.
Play it now.
Yeah, exactly. There's more for you to find out. It's basically, the very opening cinematic where there's like a girl being sacrificed.
Yeah, she's getting.
It takes it to that location. Yeah. I thought, by the way, on that topic, I thought that was Ashley. I was like, "What? She's dead already?
Yeah,
don't need to go to Spain."
Yeah.
Well, but this way, if you're looking for the medallions in the game, there's one location for one.
Yeah. It's cool that it gives you that. Like, and it's not like it pinpoints it to you, like, "Oh, go here."
No,
it's missable. I love that stuff because it gives you the replay value. You say, so like you heard there now, "Oh, there's another area." Well, go back and play that.
didn't know that.
Yeah, like, even for the first time, or like even for the amount of time I spent playing it, I still missed quite a few bits in the game, and I had to go back and play a few times to get everything because I kept missing stuff. So yeah.
I'm just looking at my PS
What doing this weekend?
and Resident Evil 4. I have 150 hours played.
Yeah, I have 69 actually. Me.
You mates don't even bother saying what you have.
All I know is I think I've about 300 saves.
And what are you? Hands up, who's the anxiety saver?
Yeah, me.
I think all myself.
Save it here. I'll save it here.
And you know what?
Another one. I'll save another one below.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case that one, I'm going to save 7 more below that one.
She's the one that doesn't save, and then I die and it's the whole thing.
I know. The worst thing is, like, you'll see that you'll save it, and then you'll be walking on. You're like, "Hello, stranger." Like, when you buy something, I need to go save it again.
Yeah, that is me. Yeah,
That was me too. Don't worry.
yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
No, it's the little things.
Does anyone still look at the merchant and think he has to be like, what do you call the guys? A weapons dealer. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely, he gives me the vibes like he could easily fit into Resident Evil 5, I feel, because he would just make me think like because he's clearly not from the area.
He's a black market dealer. That's what he is.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Black market dealer.
Yeah.
Right? He's a BMD, right? And he literally I just always got the feeling that he was sort of there, like he discovered that this was going on, and he just moved in and was like, I'm going to sell this. But when you look at his eyes, he looks like he's infected. Like,
Yeah.
there's something going on.
There is something going on when you look, but I just couldn't tell exactly what it is. But there is, I definitely agree with you. When you look at him, there is something there. But would it be a story out of that, or will a story ever happen out of it?
It could be, like you say, a bit of lore, which is important.
Yeah, exactly.
In every game, like,
Oh,
especially
definitely,
big games
definitely.
have lore.
Yeah,
Resident Evil's got buckets load. But like I can look at like one thing I found as well for capturing details in this game, which we never had access to. At least I don't think so. In any other Resident Evil was photo mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has any of you used it?
I've used it once.
Yeah.
Oh, I have. You know me.
Yeah.
Taking photos. But I was looking at that. I was like, Mike, take the picture. Take the picture.
You want to be in showbiz, don't you? Take them off.
Spread those cheeks, boy. Go, kiss low.
That's what it means.
That's what it means. It means get ready for the the photo shoot.
Drop it.
Get ready for the picture. It's the worst thing. If you, I'll be a nightmare. Like, what if Sadler was a real weirdo, and he'd be like, "I'm not doing that," and he just gets the staff, boom, and you're like, "Oh no!"
Here we go again.
You know what's coming.
I do not consent. Him sitting there just going, "Yeah, boy." Anyway, back up. Oh, sorry about that.
To get dangling triangle, boy. Oh,
Peter's gone.
he is. That's it. That's it. Wait. He's gone. That's it. Video flash.
That's
Sorry for interruption. Bleach is gone.
all you hear is, all I'll hear is, when he composes himself.
Oh, there's no hope for that fella. Ah, James is gone.
I think he just going. I feel like an evil laugh now. He was laughing.
Peter's definitely gone.
Oh, there's no hope for that fella. Panda.
Oh, ow. Oh, my stomach. Oh, I know.
Stomach walk out of you there.
Yeah. Oh, I could feel my stomach because I have a muscle that pops out every so often if I put myself on just so straight, and it was starting to pop out there. I was like, oh crap.
When he said that, I might have only one that thought to recall Quaid.
I'm actually having to hold my stomach now every time I laugh because I can feel it starting to move. Yeah.
Shortest
So-
podcast ever.
Don't make me laugh.
Don't make me laugh.
Oh, fucking hell. I breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, where were we?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
I have speech. I tell you.
Just keep
Photo mode.
Yeah, the photo mode.
Yeah, so like the photo mode's great for like capturing little details. Like I was looking at like the the guy caught the black market dealer, the weapons dealer, and the just looking at his face and all, and his eyes are like yellow, like Wesker's.
I agree. But just definitely do something there.
You think they'll do some sort of backdrop from? Or will they just keep it
He
mysterious?
knows. Well, does any reason know? Because I haven't a clue. Because when you look at
I
him,
don't think he was ever really
Something wrong.
explained.
No,
Maybe not even in
Yeah.
comics, maybe.
it's like he's infected.
Never heard.
Like walls or there's something there. Like
there is something there. Like I would love to see that, just a bit of info on him.
exactly.
The background.
It's all up in the air. Nobody knows anything, really.
Plot twist. It's Wesker the whole time.
Well, you think about it. You had him at Resident Evil 4, but there's been nothing since. There's 5, 6, 7, 8.
And listen, I'm just
I
saying,
think so.
right? We've never seen Wesker and him in the same room together, lads. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah.
Take a top set here. Anybody?
Wesker walks in the room. Hello, Chris. You know. Oh, God.
No, I think you're right. They should do something just to, what would you say? I'm sure we're not the only ones thinking this.
Like
A
even,
lot of people thinking. So just to clear things up, or as you said, a bit of lore to let the people know where he came from, what happened, blah blah blah.
like even
Interesting.
like even in the new Resident Evils, even if he wasn't in it, but what if somebody left a note saying, I met this weird dude that says, you know, I've got something for you. You know what I mean? And then that's it. You're like, all right, okay. He travels around. He's not just stuck in that area, because he was only ever in 4. But
Yeah.
he is a character that people, I've seen YouTube videos, people are going like, what is the deal with this guy? What's his background? And nobody knows.
Yeah. There is a reference to him in Village, Resident Evil 8.
Really?
Yeah, what's the merchant's name in 8?
Oh,
The big fat fella.
oh,
I can't think of his name, but anyway, when it's certain there's a time in the game where you meet him and he goes, I've got some things for you or something like that. And he's like, and he laughs and he goes, I have an old friend who used to say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that could be a really interesting thread. Like it's like an underground ring of arms dealers, and they all know each other, and like, you know, probably dealing and other stuff that isn't just guns. You know what I mean? BOWs, God knows what.
The Duke is his name. The Duke, Resident Evil 8. Yeah,
I couldn't think of his name, yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't do
The,
it.
yeah.
No wonder Smith's name, because it was reminding me of Duke Nukem.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why.
He rolls
One
up going.
fucking reason.
He rolls up and goes.
Well, the
Time to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
roll anyway, let me tell you.
I'm all out of gum.
I know.
That's the truth.
Alrighty. Yeah. So I detailed it twice there. So go on.
Yeah. Question like even I want to ask you, just while I'm trying to stop myself from crying. Yeah, when I'm composed. With regards to, like, I know it might be jumping ahead a little bit, but because with this game being so different, even though it's a lot that is the same, but there's a lot that's different because there's a lot of changes. There was stuff that was added in, but there was also a lot of stuff removed compared to the original game. And when we look back at the likes of the Resident Evil 3 remake, for example, like when you look at the amount of stuff that was changed around and moved, but not for the better, in many ways it probably made the game worse. But with Resident Evil 4 that didn't happen. I didn't feel like that happened. I felt like that the things that they removed was actually a welcome choice on that part, because there were certain parts in the original game, well, don't get me wrong, I thought they were brilliant, but some of them were completely over the top, but at the same time they kind of took the idea away. And you kind of felt like when you go and play this new game and you look back over the original, over those parts that were removed, you're like, well, they were really kind of unnecessary. They were just kind of just sometimes it just felt, when you think of it, more like a content filler more than anything. Whereas with this one, it was far more streamlined. That's what I loved about the remake, is that everything, like you said earlier on, Veddy, like everything felt more in tune. Everything felt more like it was the constant flow to it. It felt better
Fell into
together.
place
Yeah,
that you
Yeah.
go to and fro, and everything was, you still do everything.
I just love to hear what you think of that. Like, what would your opinions be like of it?
And I
think-
you go first. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the first thing I noticed that was missing was, you know, after is it the first El Gigante fight? You then have, in the original, you have like 2 paths you can choose. Oh no, it's
Yeah.
after the onslaught in the house.
The onslaught in the house, yeah.
And you have a path, then you can go to the left or the right. The left
Yeah.
is crazy villagers and chainsaw women, and right, I think, is the second El Gigante.
Yeah.
So I was kind of glad they got rid of that option.
Yeah.
Just kept it
Yeah.
straightforward. And
I remember that bit was ridiculous in the original game. It was so hard.
But then you go beyond that, and they got rid of the ski lift thing before you
Yeah.
fight Mendez. So that was sort of like a while. And you know what the thing about, I'm right in saying this, aren't I, that you had to go off away from the castle entrance to get to Mendez, where this one, it was part of the...
It was part of the flat path, yeah. I think that was better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of what... So the creature in the caves, that they completely cut that. And also the second fight against that, when you're on those kind of...
Yeah.
What do you call them? Cages?
Detachable kind of cages, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, was that it, or did they remove anything else?
I think there was a couple of other small bits here and now, but not really as significant as those parts that you just mentioned. But I think that they were worthwhile choices to remove.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Trying to think even later on the island, they didn't get rid of anything in the island, did they?
The only thing they got rid of a scene with Ada and Leon. Leon's already infected with the Las Plagas.
Yeah.
And he turns on Ada. That doesn't happen this time.
Yeah, she stabs him in the leg, doesn't she?
Oh,
yeah.
He grabs her right by the throat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of like, other than that, like there was just some changes. And I mean, I thought the fight with Krauser, the first fight with Krauser was amazing. Not just like for gameplay, but visually. Like when you see those lights coming up through the grid that you're standing on,
yeah,
I was like, holy shit. Like if I wasn't impressed for the last 3 hours playing the game, this has just gone even one step further. I just thought it was visually amazing. And I loved because the QuickTime things in the original game, you know, some people liked them, some didn't. I didn't. Especially that fight with Krauser. I know, Veddy, you liked it.
I know, I love it. Like, some people like them more.
Yeah. But I just thought that they really, like, that was the big question before the game was released. I was like, how are they going to do the Krauser fight, you know? It was all QuickTime events, and they just killed it, I think.
Yeah, I think they definitely done a good job with that, so they did, yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
Being honest, I didn't like the first Krauser encounter, and I didn't even like the second one.
Right.
But the first one, now with the remake, was a lot more enjoyable.
Right.
To play than, say, the original. And then even the second one, to me, they took things out of it in the remake than the original. To me, it took too long in the original to get through it. But this one now, they actually done it, and same, even going back, do like with Sherry.
Yeah.
When you're doing things with her, they completely eliminated a lot of things, right?
I mean, Ashley,
new things. I'm sorry.
Sherry Birkin's in this game.
That's another bit I missed.
Tell you, it must be in that case.
Yeah, with Ashley, I hated the Ashley part in the castle.
The original.
Yeah.
Well, I think I hated Ashley full stop. You know,
I said to you, Diggs, that
she was a hindrance.
far more likable in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The dialogue was better.
Yeah.
They made her more like a person and not like a waifu.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just like a spoiled brat teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Them little things, they've done it really, really well. You know what I mean? They did really, really well. So it made the game more enjoyable for them parts that we didn't enjoy, and I'm sure we're not alone. That's a lot of people didn't enjoy.
Because I think when it comes to the original, I think as well, because like we're saying there's a lot of parts in, like with the likes of Ashley and even Leon's dialogue. While it was good, there was a lot of cheesy elements in it. Whereas this one here, they tried to make it more, you know, more neutral in a way. Like it was more kind of serious too. Now
It was very cheesy in the original.
Yeah.
one thing I will say, sorry, going back to the Krauser fight, just in case we go on any further.
Yeah.
The one thing I think that was so important and such an important game mechanic that I used a heap was the parry.
Yeah.
And you had to have mastered that before you got the Krauser.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you were in trouble.
Yeah, the parry was a perfect alternative to the QuickTime events from the original, I think. Yeah.
But am I right in saying that you could deflect like knives and axes that were thrown at you?
You could, yeah.
But it wasn't as efficient as the
Wasn't
parry.
efficient, no. I think you had to have the knife equipped and you had to swipe it at the right time.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, boom, 100%. Other than that, forget about it.
Yeah, the parry system. Yeah, the parry system is amazing, even against the chainsaw guys.
Yeah.
What? You madman. Yeah, do you know the bit with the chainsaw? It's the two chainsaw chicks come later on.
And chainsaw sisters, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know at this point that you could put Ashley in the locker, and every time I was fighting them, all I could do was Leon. I was like, I'm coming. Kept getting picked up. Oh, dude, I was cracking up, man. I wasted so much
time beforehand, was he? I'm coming, hold on a minute.
Oh, dude. I don't know. I mean, I was just sitting going to myself, like, there has to be an easier way. And then I went into work the next day, and the girl that works ahead of me, she plays Resident Evil. And she goes, "Oh yeah, just put her in the locker." And I'm like, the ones that's painted yellow that you know that you can put them in a locker. And I'm like,
You didn't.
I was like, I knew that.
There's only 2 of them.
Betty just had a moment.
One thing that I didn't miss this time around, those Boulder QuickTime events.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. I hated that in the original.
Exactly.
big time.
Did anyone release the bestest boy ever? Did anyone get the doggo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, every time, yeah.
I just can't be that person not to do it.
No, I can't look at him and go,
Played through
Ah,
that many times.
even when-
every time
even-
I've done it.
Even when I get the infinite launcher, I still release it.
Yeah.
He's not needed.
Yeah,
I thought you were
exactly.
gonna-
That's the exact same.
I thought you were going to say, when I get the infinite launcher, I just go, come on.
You're free. I tried.
But he's tried. Dog.
I'm sorry.
If he was into dogs I have now at the minute, it'd be 2 or 3 rocket launchers. I'd make sure he's gone. Boom, 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 boom.
No, but it was good because the whole time I was fighting him, I kept saying to myself, "Oh, he's not going to come back." And then when he came back, I was literally like, "Yeah, come on!" I was like super happy, like, in that fight.
It was real cool, wasn't it? Like when he came back, it was almost like the lightning strikes and all that there
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and lightning strikes, and then he does a howl, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does the hell. It's very cinematic, like animated or something.
Cinematic, like he had a purpose, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, when he did that howl, man, I was like, "Come on, we're going to do this!" I was pumped, man. I was pumped.
Yeah.
And what happened when he left? You died.
Hey, Steve-O.
It happened to one of us. I'm sure it did.
It did. I did not die at that point. I did not die at that point. I didn't swear.
Before we move on to the El Gigante, what did you make of the lake monster this time around? Better, worse?
In the
It's better, but
backside.
see, trying to play it on professional. Oh my god, I can't kill him. I cannot kill him on professional mode. I really can't.
I struggled, but you have to. It's about moving the boat.
Yeah, it's about timing as well.
Yes, and I could throw 25 spears or plus, and I still can't get him. It's just
Yeah, it takes a while to kill him on professional, but
Yeah.
as I said, it's the bit that does the most damage. Not even the tree stumps in the water, but when he jumps up out of
Yeah.
top of you,
yeah.
if you're not avoiding that, forget about it. You never.
You're done for, yeah.
just a matter of just moving at the right time.
I know a lot of people are not happy about that. They kind of like they're not a fan of that compared to the original. You know, the mechanics of the original.
It's a
I
challenge.
thought it was
It's something
better.
different. It's something different.
Yeah, but the original, like, he just came straight at you.
Yeah.
A straight line. It was boring.
Yeah,
And originally, you didn't really have to move left. You didn't move left or right. did you?
And Leon could swim back to the boat if he did get knocked out of it.
that was quick
exactly.
time events.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember having to bash those buttons?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the back of your head, you're hearing the Jaws music. You're like,
In a frenzy, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the music, I actually, that when I pre-ordered, I got the original soundtrack.
Yes, so did I.
course.
Yeah.
I had to play it with the original first, but
Yeah.
I did this on the new soundtrack. The fight with the lake monster, I thought was really cool. The music for that.
yeah.
It was there was hints of the whole kind of Jaws kind of din, 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 was building it up.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Actually, I thought the soundtrack was really good for the remake.
And that's it. Like, I think you need to have the proper soundtrack. Like, even in parts, like the bit when you're obviously not to go away from the lake monster. I'm going to come back to it. But like when you're playing as Ashley and there's all those suits of armor dudes, the music
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have no weapons, it's just like, I mean, anxiety levels were through the roof, So when I was playing the one, when I was playing as Ashley or doing the sea monster part, like, I was having fun, but in the back of my mind I'm thinking, yeah, if I don't watch what I'm doing here, I'm dead. It's very real. So I enjoyed that bit. It was good.
Yeah, definitely. So the El Gigante, I thought was very similar actually to to the original.
Yeah.
They kept it very faithful.
Yeah.
The whole fight
It-
was more or less the same.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely.
the whole the thing on his back, you know, just swiping out with the knife to kill him.
I know.
So I was wondering how they were going to do that. Like, he looked cool too as well, you
Yeah.
know, like, and I was wondering, like, before the game came out, like, because I remember, I don't know if you remember when the original Resident Evil 4 came out, and you saw like the stills of him, and you were thinking, what the hell? You know, how am I supposed to defeat that? Like, and
Yeah.
I was curious as to how he would look in the remake, and they didn't let me down. It was amazing.
Yeah.
No.
And I liked the input, because in the original, wasn't it, the villagers pull down the door
Yeah.
and he kicks it through and beats the
Yeah.
crap out of them all.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's the red guy this time that releases him, right?
Yeah. I think so, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something
don't
like that, yeah.
was the villagers there as well to pull the gates down?
Yeah, because you get trapped in like that Colosseum or death pit or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But,
No, it was good, and the fact as well that he's trashing the place as he's going around as well. There was some environmental damage going on around you as well, which again was great for me who has no ammo.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a box of bullets. I'll just do a wee lap here and get them on the way around.
yeah.
You know.
And I liked how am I right in saying those cabins couldn't have been destroyed only by him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got the extra, you know, you couldn't remember in the original you could go in and grab the stuff out of it before you even fought him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one you couldn't.
You couldn't
Yeah,
know.
Right in saying that.
You have to get your roll right. You have to dodge him as he come in the evade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
They-
it's like it's-
But even the atmosphere that it was raining, there was like pools of water and mud and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Even the weather effects and everything, yeah, was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Even like, sorry, just
Go
even
ahead.
later on in the game when you fought the two guys later on,
Oh yeah.
that was a pain because the guy that was all armoured up, you could not drop him into the pit. He was the one guy, you know, the way you could actually open up the lava pit, and the guy without the armour, you could get him to fall in. But I think there was a thing with the game I noticed when I was trying. I tried it so many times. The guy that has the armour, you cannot get him to fall into the pit because he always dodges. He always falls back.
Just
every
flash
time.
grenade. That's what I used.
Yeah. No, I found that even by you,
piece, just a flash grenade.
I even found
But you
that
had,
I
to be,
did.
you had to be next to the handle, but that's
Yeah, I found even by doing that, there was a couple of times I did it, it still didn't make a difference. The flash grenades, because the armor doesn't, the flash grenades never seem to affect the guy that's full of armor. He still seems to just keep coming, and even when I used the flash grenades, didn't do a thing. He would still jump off before you opened it, just a split second before the trap door would open. So yeah, he can't actually die in that lava pit, but the other fella can. The fella without the armor.
Enough.
yeah.
And did you give him the special flash? He was
Special privileges.
Yeah. I was going to say something there.
It was a Braveheart moment.
oh dear.
Oh, there was something I was going to say now. Oh yeah, you know, before you fought the El Gigante, the way the lake expanded this time around, there was even more areas to explore.
Yeah.
Like that, I love that. I love that they added that extra stuff, and even the buttons with the markings on the wall. You had to be at a certain angle.
Oh yeah,
See them all.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The one thing because you know me, I love me open world. Like the night I fell asleep and crashed into the boat, the reason why I fell asleep, I was just exploring like that much. I didn't want. I was afraid of missing something, missing a treasure,
Yeah.
or I was trying to find like little bits and pieces, and
Well, you did. You fell asleep.
I did I found treasure. Oh god. But no, it was, and like each area had its own sort of wee spooky vibe to it as well. Like as you were saying, Diggs, the one where you're going and all the markings are on the wall, and isn't it yellow?
Yeah.
Yellow? Yeah. You happen to have your torch out at that point, aren't you? To go through that. And I remember just thinking,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, it was freaky to me because you were having to shine your torch to see where they were. Well, I had a torch out. I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong. But that's what I was doing. I just thought it was class. The whole lot, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just really like that they added that extra bit of exploration in that area. Like they made the lake bigger. I felt like it was a little bit of a throw or like a little nod to God of War, 2018 God of War. You know, when you're going around with a trace on the boat, checking all that.
Exactly, yeah.
I thought it was a little bit, a bit of inspiration there from God of War, you know.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Loved about it because replayability, you know what I mean? You could go back and you could search then.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just wasn't go play through the game and that's it. You had that. So it was deadly.
Here's a quick question. Maybe you guys will be able to debunk this for me, right? Is it true or not? If you don't kill the chicken, it will lay golden eggs.
No.
I don't know.
I think the golden eggs are laid out for you. I think you can only get 2.
Right, because
Yeah.
I got told...
You
by
can only
the
get
girl-
2 golden eggs, yeah. You can only get 2.
Yeah, well, the girl who works across the way from me, I told her I got 2 and I sold one, right?
Yeah.
And she goes to me, "Did you kill the chicken by the lake?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes to me, shame." And she goes, "Because if you've sold one, that chicken will lay another golden egg." I was like, "What?"
Right?
Yeah, she says, don't kill it."
Possible, yeah.
She says, if you sell one, she says that chicken will lay one more golden egg for you.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I went back, but I killed it.
You were impatient. I'm hungry.
Yeah. I wanted a boat snack.
You wanted to check the nice.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd ask you boys in case it was, I don't know. We'll leave
It's possible, like it might be worth investigating. But I know the room in the castle where you throw the egg at Salazar.
Salazar's picture. Yeah.
So you've chickens in that room as well.
I know one
laying
there
eggs.
and one.
Yeah, you get a golden egg there.
Yeah.
But I remember taking a phone call, being in that room, and I think it was a 30-minute phone call. There was eggs everywhere, but there was no golden ones. I mean, it's like, Jesus, I says these guys have been busy. Yeah.
No,
But
that's a cool wee thing though. I think the next time I'm going through, I won't actually kill the chickens. I'll wait and see. See if it happens.
We'll
And
try.
we can myth bust that.
Mm.
RE4 myth bust.
Sure, isn't it a thing that you were saying, Dig, as well, that you can actually kill Salazar's final form with the 2 golden eggs?
yeah,
You throw them at
that's
him.
true.
Yeah.
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 When he merges with the Verduga,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that one.
Yeah, because I had 1 golden egg left and I lobbed it at him.
Yeah, there's actually a trophy or something, I think, for doing that, or some achievement, I think.
There is. But it was, yeah. How did you just find that boss fight, by the way?
It was a pain at first.
Yeah.
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 I hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was so fiddly.
Yeah, I wasn't too pushed on it either. I have to admit.
Yeah.
The reason was I was trying to use the red 9. The red 9 was way too slow because by the time he aimed down the sights, he was away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up switching to it was the red tail. It's the handgun.
Yeah. Or the black tail.
That's it.
Black tail, red tail, black tail. And basically that was much better. You know, I was able to between the black.
You know what's really good against him? You know the assault rifle. It's like the CQ.
Oh, the one that you can only view through like first person mode when you're shooting it.
Yeah, that's really good against him. That's a really good gun in the whole game. Like that's really powerful when it's fully done up.
Was that did any of you guys do this with that when you were walking around? You know, if the enemies were close, just lob off the scope. I used to have the scope on it, you see, for far away.
All right. Yeah.
And then when the enemies would get close, pause, take the scope off, and aim down the iron sights. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never did it.
Yeah, no.
You can do it even with the sniper rifles. You can just take the sights off.
I just once I run, I just left them on, and I just used whatever guns I had for close combat, and that was it. And I used
Yeah, I tend to just stick with
that was it.
the red 9
Auto.
a lot. It's so powerful when it's fully done up.
Yeah, there's a few of the other handguns, even now I was using the likes of the infinite ammo and stuff like that. I was, them tickets that you get. And even the Matilda is another really good gun, because I actually done a playthrough where you had to complete the game using only handguns, because I think there is a trophy for it. And I had pretty much what I thought the 4 best handguns were. I had the the Sentinel 9, I had one, but that was more of a backup gun. But I had the Red 9, the Blacktail, and the Matilda as my 3 main guns, because the Red 9 is probably the most powerful one, but it's the slowest one, and it's got the smallest clip. The Matilda is actually really powerful. There's really good impact. Actually, you know what? The Punisher is a really good one, because you can hit a couple of enemies at once. But then even the Blacktail, like what Veddy was saying, because it fires so quick and it's very accurate as well.
It slapped
Yeah.
the laser sight on.
Yeah.
The Punisher was probably my main 2.
The Punisher was a really good one. Yeah.
Probably my main 2 handgun.
Yeah.
The lot. Like, they were decent, but Punisher was probably for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I like the TMP. TMP is good.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
I
I
felt
just couldn't find enough ammo for it. That was the problem.
No, I ended up getting the wee charm that it gave me increased drop rates. So
Yeah.
that
They really work well, don't they?
they're great.
charm.
That's a great addition to the game, I thought. You know, because if you I was running around with increased melee damage, increased sniper rifle drop, and increased submachine gun ammo drop.
Yeah.
And it was great because you're shooting guys next while you're seeing the ammo drop, and you're like, perfect for the guy who misses everything.
Yeah.
That one didn't last long with you then.
Why do you think I had the melee damage on?
Yeah. Well, at least you had that backup, so you're all right.
I know.
Yeah, but even like them charms, as you're saying, like on your suitcase, it gives you different attributes, benefits. That was a deadly addition, as you said, Freddy.
Yeah.
It really was. It was fucking cool. It really was. Them little things that weren't in the previous game added into this one, they actually really made a difference. Even though they're really small things, but they made a difference.
Yeah, because if you look at the 4 of us here, all have different play styles.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Diggy's very, he'd be very analytical when he'd take a thing and he scours it. Peter, well, he just goes through every drawer in the house and finds every red cent and he uses everything. Me,
That's right.
I'm shooting at the sun, so I'm going to need every bullet I can get.
And you still miss.
And as Steve-O, man, you're probably the same as me, man, because you're 3 sheets to the wind and you're like, how many? Am I aiming for the middle guy or the left or the right one?
Yeah.
It's like Rocky. It's like Rocky. Hit the one in the middle.
Terrible. I'd love to go around and explore them, but see, when it comes to shooting that, my aim's terrible. It really is.
Yeah, he plays Destiny. That's enough.
Not to go off topic though, I'm super pumped Kid's back.
Yeah, it's about time. About time.
Yeah, definitely. He was the best character and the funniest one.
He was
Yeah.
back in Resident
Given even
Yeah.
a small change, which I thought was good. I mean, it's minute. So, like, say when you see the boxes and they have your ammo or coins, whatever. In the original Resident Evil 4, you had to use your knife to break them. Or
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you could just go over and fucking press the button, boom, he'll automatically just kick them or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought
Yeah,
it's
good. It was
simple like that.
Yeah, it was a great feature added into the game.
I think it's
That's-
simple like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered lots of stuff already, but I wanted to talk about the enemies, the change in design and stuff from the Ganados and compared to the original. I think that the first thing I noticed was the Ganado women. They were very vicious in this game.
Oh, yeah. Way more than the original.
because do you remember when you be sitting there and obviously you get a group of them and you see a guy who's throwing a tomahawk at you or like a hatchet, so you're shooting this, and then next of all you look and you see this one with the pitchfork and you're like, don't you do it, and she locks it and she's like, she's running at you.
Yeah,
It's so many times I got impaled and I'd be like, that mother.
yeah, they are
That sounds
very
vicious.
vicious. They're actually worse than the male Ganados.
She's there for blood, and that's it. That's the end of it.
Tell you, my favorite thing to do with them all was when I'd see them and they were clumped up, I just kneecap the first one and then roundhouse the 4 of them, and use the first one because I'm trying to think to my head, I've got 9 bullets left. There's no way I'm taking them down with 9 bullets, so I'll shoot her and hopefully I get a strike. You know what I mean? But
So you're right, number 10 to 1.
Yeah, just, as Jeff Goldblum says, life finds a way.
Am I right in saying that the throat slit is new compared
Yeah.
to the original?
Yeah.
You know the way you can.
Yeah, the way
stealth
the silent, the stealth kills, that was never in the original.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that's a welcome addition.
Yeah.
There's-
Oh, definitely.
I know, like there's the element in the game where you get caught with Lewis and you lose all your gear, and yeah, that's the stealth section. It's sort of like a tutorial, really, isn't it? Like that area.
Mm.
But I just love those little things that they've added in. Is really
Yeah.
excellent in the game.
Mm-hmm. See, as we're talking about enemies, me and Steve were talking. Those goddamn dogs.
Oh, they're scary as freaky as.
Yeah,
They were
they're different.
Yeah.
They were a pain.
I remember when I walked back to the village after
Yeah,
I did the contract. I was just clicking stuff. I was just happy to be alive. And I walked back to the village and he goes, "Ruff," and I'm like, oh, no. And there's like 3 of them, and one of them is like a big dog that you have to bring down. I was like, I got all this ammo, now I'm going to lose it again. Yay!
Yeah.
So, but it was no, they were hard and tough. Like I felt at times.
Especially
I
the
know a lot of
one.
people online don't like them.
Yeah. Do you remember the one you had to kill during it was one of them special order missions?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one took ages. Unless you'd really strong weapons, you weren't putting that thing down.
Yeah, the shotgun and everything took ages to kill that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was a big boy.
yeah.
I'm going to say something as well. I can't remember now if we talked about it or if we talked about it. To Lewis, the character with him in Resident Evil 4, the original, and the way he is now, I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, and the remake, far better.
I thought he was absolutely. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Very funny, very likable.
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
I really did. And different things that he did and said in the game, and even now we cutscene with him and Nate, and he climbed up the wall and he got a cigarette. To them the little things. He was very outgoing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they wrote him a lot better this time.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
I thought
definitely.
He was very, very good.
He was definitely one of the best characters easily in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was very, very good.
Yeah,
And I love the fact you got to play alongside him.
yeah,
'Cause I was going to say, am I wrong in remembering? Did he not die like really early on?
He died very early in the original game. Yeah,
I I felt like they sort of fixed that this time around.
yeah, they did.
Yeah, and like it's good that you get to see the interactions with him and Ada.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think we got to see that in the original, did we?
Yeah, because it didn't feel as because the thing is when his death in the original game, when you look back at it in hindsight, it felt very scripted, kind of way. He was suddenly there, he came through the door, everything looked normal, and all of a sudden Sadler out of nowhere, just literally out of nowhere, appeared. Whereas at least with this one there was something there, whereas Krauser was waiting for him to show his face or someone to show their face. Kind of way, like, so it definitely made it a lot more streamlined, and it made it more realistic in many ways, so it did.
I thought he was very good now.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. Good at this.
One thing, even like when I look back at the game as well, like even the bits where when you're trying to save Ashley and Sadler comes on the scene and the way he actually manipulates you with his powers, for me, compared to the original game, that even towards the end, especially towards near the end sequence where you're taking Ashley to that room to extract the parasites from you, that was one of that for me, that was kind of like a gut wrench and nearly heartfelt kind of moment, because you felt like the things actually were going to change. You felt like, oh, this could something turn on its head. At one point, you genuinely thought Leon was going to die. That kind of way. You really felt for him, like you could see that he was in a lot of pain, and even Ashley as well. And it was definitely more of an emotional kind of thing. They definitely, I think, really did well at that part. You got a real, it really touched on something with it, like compared to the original game.
Are you talking about the bit where he carries?
Well, even leading up to that, when he, the way he freezes him in motion and he can't. The way, like in the first scene where he gets Ashley to pick up the gun and she's trying not to shoot him, but she shoots everything around him. And you were like, oh crap. And then even the next scene where he starts to try and he tries to expedite the growth process within Leon. He started, and you could see like you could feel like bones crunching and everything. It's like oh my god. You could really you could feel for him, like, you know, you could almost nearly feel his pain. You're like, holy shit, this is it. You know, you thought that's it. You know, you thought he was actually going to die. You know, so it's like, this is a complete change from the original. You know, you really felt for him.
Yeah, they definitely made Sadler better in this one.
Yeah, I think that even with the characters, it definitely allowed you to build more, I think, of an emotional connection towards the characters this time around. You know?
Yeah, the dialogue's much better. It's more kind of mature.
Yeah.
You know, there's still some cheesy lines in it, but definitely overall the dialogue is
I think
better.
I still think having the cheesy lines, that was one thing I even kind of heard, like looking at reviews and stuff online, and a lot of people loved the fact is that they kept certain quips and gags, you know, like even after the chainsaw fight originally, he's like, where's everyone going? Bingo. You know, like that kind of way, like little things like that. They're really happy, and I do agree that they're happy that they kept those little bits in, because that's the one thing about what makes those games is that cheesy humour as well. That's what's always been so iconic about them, and I'm glad that they did leave that in. But again, like you said, they managed to streamline it and make it more realistic and more serious when it needed to be too.
Yeah.
I'm devastated they got rid of the line, your right hand comes off.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I was like, come on, give it to me. You know what you know what I'm here for.
No, one instance where, say, Ashley got control, she's holding the gun to Leon, and
that's right.
it's going to shoot. It's going to shoot. Yeah, it's going to shoot or she's not. And it just brought back in my head of going, oh, if she shoots, it's just going to be like a throwback to Resident Evil 2, where she'll shoot him, and then Ada will come in and look after him and save him, blah blah, and we'll continue on from there. Didn't realise exactly what was going to happen afterwards the first time we played it, but that's the vibe that I had. She would have punched her, because she's been controlled, she couldn't help, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 that was it.
And it was only the fact is that the gun jammed that it stopped her from killing him. You know, that's what was crazy about it, like.
But you see, it was moments like that that actually made you care about Ashley. Because
I
was thinking of things that could have happened, obviously it didn't, but it just gets you so, what would you say, into the game.
Yeah,
you just feel really lost. Yeah, you just lost in the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just one of them moments.
It definitely touched on a nerve with those scenes, so it did.
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think you can owe that back to like The Last of Us 1.
Yeah,
really, it was the first game that actually made you feel emotional, because like I finished God of War Ragnarok there a few months back. I gotta say, the end of it kind of like hit me in the feels. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
They've, like, video games are meant to be like cheesy one-liners and stuff, but they've just some games now are just incredible.
they have evolved. Yeah.
And I'm glad that Resident Evil series has sort of jumped on that now. That the writing's better, and you know, but
you can glad to see it now with the remake. It's I would say it's not fully there, but it's on the path. It's on the right path. You know what I mean? And
I mean,
continuing on.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2, it kicked off with that. Like Resident Evil 2, like you all know that like the original Resident Evil 2 is not even in my top 5 Resident Evils. Whereas when the remake came along, Resident Evil 2, and I played it, it just blew me away. And I feel like that's how it should have blown me away back in the day. But I was like, wow, Resident Evil 2 remake is just, it's the dialogue. Even with, do you remember what Marvin? Like you felt for Marvin, you know?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Like his voice actor was so good.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that, you know, played Marvin. It was just, all the dialogue was so good in Resident Evil 2. And, you know, 3 as well was very good, and now 4. So makes you wonder, like, you know, if the next, like, Resident Evil 7, I thought the dialogue was brilliant. Also, you know.
It was.
So, I mean, I'm just happy that Resident Evil games have a better dialogue now, and voice acting, because it was always the one thing, wasn't it? That was going to say.
Yeah.
Even though the dialogue has improved immensely, but even if it's slacked on that a little bit, but look at what we have gameplay wise, I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I could definitely deal with that, you know. Definitely.
Yeah.
No.
One thing that I'm glad now, do you remember, the comms with Hunnigan? I
Yeah.
was glad that was restricted down to like on screen.
On screen. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Time out and everything.
Well, it did. At least it
solid moments.
yeah. At least it kept the continuous flow of the game, so you still were able to keep playing through it. Whereas it didn't stop the game, just to do that bit, which was annoying. Like,
It was time. It
Yeah.
cut out in a hell of a lot of time.
yeah,
Definitely did.
Just staying on the topic of enemies, what did you think? I think they were called brutes. You know, the guys with the cow's head?
yeah, yeah. Oh Jesus, yeah.
We were playing that at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And all things could hear us be going, what the f-? And he's like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is it? It's like, I'm not telling you. You're going to find out.
5 seconds in, you found out.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, it was about 10 seconds there. All you could hear was things going, what?
He was cool looking, wasn't he? Like,
Yeah.
so good at enemy design, Cap.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, when I saw that guy the first time, all I could think of was Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's based like on the Minotaur, right?
yeah,
know,
the Minotaur. Yeah, it just brought me back to that old movie as a kid. Now I just remember thinking, that's cool. You know, because it was a cool character design that just invoked what do you call it, a memory even from something completely different. But I felt all the characters had a brilliant sort of design to them. Like even just from the bog standard Ganados
Yeah.
to, the bigger enemies that you meet later on. Each one of them, they almost had like a personality. You know what I mean? You could see that they weren't just filler.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, but they were, I'm right in saying that's what the brutes were, wasn't it? Because I know the first guy you encounter, he has like a machine gun on his arm, isn't it?
No, he has a hammer.
Oh, the hammer. That's right.
The
Yeah,
later ones have
Hammer
machine
time.
guns.
that's right.
Yeah.
The ones on the island, is it? Has
They
the
do, and then some of them get flamethrowers as well. And you're like, what?
Yeah, because those brutes kind of like replaced. Remember them kind of like big massive dudes that you fought on the island later on in the game. Like, yeah,
Had
that's
the big
what the
ammo pack on
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm sort of glad because I always felt that they didn't fit in.
yeah, yeah.
Just going by what you just saying, said yourself, things and Freddy you were playing. That reminds me, say Resident Evil 2 was released on a Thursday. I didn't get to play it say until the Friday. But things you were playing it, and then when I played it, I jumped into the party chat with you, and I didn't really start when I got to the village. And played it, and obviously you were way ahead. Then all of a sudden the gates get kicked open.
yeah.
I'm like, why is he here? He shouldn't be here. It's too early to get. I've only got a handgun, but I'm not going to be able to kill him.
Here,
And to him and Diggs and Stitches and Alfie are going, oh, Jesus.
I don't know if any of you remember this bit, right? It's the second encounter with the chainsaw guy. You're just walking through and you find that wee well and you get the dude.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, you're going to Vendez's house.
dude, yeah, I remember just thinking, thank goodness, it's so serene and peaceful. And I'm like sitting there and I hear the noise.
And
And
then
thing is, I hear this, and I looked out the window thinking, hang on.
Taking in the scenery.
And then I turn around and I see a boy coming and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like a panic moment.
Hey, do you remember the bit just when you get past that and you get into the back of the house and you're wanting the shit off?
I know, because I was sitting going, like I open the door and your boy comes out and just, oh no.
I look at myself laughing and said, well, even the infected have to go and take a shit.
Yeah. He's literally sitting on the jacks, like.
He is,
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it was pretty cool, the element of surprise then after you do the
Telling you.
puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not the next minute he's up again after you.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that. That was like old school Resident Evil 1.
Yeah,
Remember when you kill the first zombie, you think he's dead. Like by the you walk into the room where you meet Barry and then the door opens and your boy comes out again, you're like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not Barry, sorry. You're Jill. You meet Chris, and then the zombie will follow you out sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what I have to love it about what it is, just like element of surprise to change things around. It's just certain enemies that you thought you'd fight in the original in a certain area, No.
Yeah.
You hadn't a clue what you were going into. You were going in basically blind. The enemies were, you didn't know what you were letting yourself in for, which I thought was really, really good. They really changed it up nicely.
Yeah.
That just wasn't straight poured over. They did good, I have to say. They did really, really good.
There's two more enemies I want to talk about before we move on to a different subject. First one, what did everybody think of Mendez in this one?
Way better.
He was yeah.
deadly.
He was a lot more intimidating.
He was the man.
Yeah.
I tell you now, right?
He is the man.
I tell you now, though, right? For the original Resident Evil, I always said that Mendez should have been the main bad guy.
Yeah.
But I think in this one, they really did a good job of making Sadler seem like the main dude. The fixed Sadler, I felt like Sadler wasn't as... But Sadler just felt like a guy who was there half the time in the old one.
Yeah.
And he only really comes to prominence in certain parts. Whereas in this one, he looked a bit more spooky, and the way the eyes were and like the makeup and all, he proper had the Voldemort treatment, like, you know.
Very scary looking, yeah.
I think you're talking about Sadler, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that like you get to see him with the hood down
Yeah.
in this one, you know, and you see how deformed.
But that's what I thought was great about it, because in that way then you could sort of believe Mendez is a henchman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, whereas before,
is.
you know, he was just a henchman. But in terms of his character design, no, like, still probably one of the best looking bosses in all the Resident Evils.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like the fact is, like, even when you talk about even like the bosses and stuff, and even with the atmosphere, the one thing that definitely got right, even as much as the original, there was elements, like, say, of scary elements in the original, like with sound effects and stuff, but the fact is, because it was action focused, you didn't really notice it as much. But with this one, even though it was action focused, but they still managed for some reason to be able to implement the horror element of it, because while it kept you on your toes, it was very atmospheric as well at the same time, which was better than the original, in my opinion. I think it was definitely a much darker tone, even for the fast-paced nature, more so when you first played the game. When you were taking your time, you definitely got that presence. You definitely felt that something was off in that kind of way. And then when it got going, like, Jesus, it was hair-raising. Like, it really just was mental. But then it would slow down gradually again, and it got you kind of, you know, it's because there were so many dark areas to explore. Like, there were some rooms were bright, but then you go into really dark rooms and you couldn't really see what was going on until it got close to you. Like, even those bits, like you were saying earlier on with the nights, the way it was very dimly lit, like, that was fucking freaky as hell. Yeah. So it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jesus.
Going to Mendez, I know what you're saying, Freddy, and Smith thinks you can agree. Looking wise, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolute class figure. Class. Being honest,
Class figure. Jeez, Stephen.
well, I didn't mean it like that.
Stephen,
Don't say like Resident Evil 2, you say you've Mr. X. And like a cloak and the hat.
Logo, yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at him, he had it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, he was better. But to me, what did it for me is, like, he was probably your first main boss encounter. And to me, he's probably the best out of the lot, but he got killed off too early.
Yeah.
To me, I think
It's still the case, yeah.
they could have done so much more.
But they added the extra bit, like, where he stalks you.
Yeah, I think
the
they
way
could have done. I still think they could have done more. You know, to make it more atmospheric. You know what I mean? Put it on the edge of your seat. Do that kind of way.
Yeah. I'm trying to think in the original, you bump into him in the house.
Yeah.
Which you do in the remake also, in his own house. And then after that, I think the only
thing we see him is before, when he's coming after you, when you're running away from him.
Yeah.
I thought they could have done more.
I died a few times in that bit. You know?
I did as well, yeah.
It was close for me.
Class. You know what I mean? Looking deadly. I just think they could have done more.
Yeah, character design and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
They've done a really good job and keeping them intimidating. And
I even felt that the boss fight this time round was way better.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't differ that much, but
but
it was
still, the thing with, like, graphics wise, it made it that wee better because visually it looked better. but it wasn't a hell of a lot different.
All I kept thinking was, I'm in here like nearly getting cooked, you know, and the merchant's outside. It's just that he set up a wee stall outside the house.
One thing you notice,
They're very boring to death.
the one thing I noticed about with certain, like, say, action sequences like there, like when you talk about Mendes, like when he grabs Leon by the throat and he throws him up against the beam, like in the original. In reality, like when you think about it in real life, he would have broke your back or broke your neck. You would have been dead straight away. But in the original, at least they made it more realistic. He came through the wall and knocked Leon off of the floor he was on, and he rolled onto the ground. So there were certain elements in the original game where it was completely over the top, whereas they did remove that in the remake. That made it more feasible in that kind of way, in terms of an action standpoint. It was more realistic.
Yeah.
So I thought they'd done a good job with that.
Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement that they've done a really good job with Mendes.
Yeah.
In this role. We just would have liked to see him more.
A bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
I think we all, as Resident Evil fans, we all want that next nemesis creature, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he sort of give us the memory of Nemesis because he was
Yeah.
big, foreboding dude. You
But
know.
here's a question for you. If you had a choice, I'm not even going to say Nemesis, no, forget about him. If Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3,
Mr. X.
and Mendes,
Yeah.
who would you pick?
Still Mr. X for me.
Mr. X, yeah.
He terrified me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
The remake.
He,
Even in the original game.
It's do you know what it is about Mr. X for me? It's you're in the RPD and you can hear the footsteps.
Footsteps, yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where is he? If I
And he was
go
he was always a lot closer than you think, like.
Yeah, because and that's the best level design, really, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
that fear and anxiety,
Yeah.
not knowing what's around the corner. Will he
that-
be there?
That for me was definitely the best part of the game, was that tension. It was beyond anything. This even more so
I
than
remember when that game came out, and
Yeah.
you stayed up to play it at midnight, right? Resident Evil 2 remake.
What?
I worked the next day, so I didn't play until the next day. So, Peter, you'd already gotten to the second stage of the RPD where he's now part of your game. And I remember you going, you were just like in the party chat, like, and you were like, where is he? Where is he? You were freaking out.
Oh, it was, because it was so
reached it at that stage, you know.
it was so tension filled. It was so fear inducing because you really weren't not sure. And I wouldn't mind what one or two things would always usually happen. He was always a lot closer than you think. So you'd actually go through a door. They meant him to go through a door, and he's coming through it, and he knocks you over. Or then what happens is then you actually go through thinking he's further away, and he's literally standing in front of you, but he has his back to you, and you can't even see you. You're like, what the fuck? You're shitting yourself. I mean, literally, like, and you're turning around and running back, and then you realise that he's coming after you. And even sometimes, if he gets you quick enough, he'll grab you and pull you through the door as well. You know, so, it was nuts.
You know, and then his soundtrack when he's near you is so good. You know,
And
his music.
because you could waste all your ammo. It's a waste of time because he gets up 30 seconds later. You're like, oh Jesus, here we go. Yeah.
Right. So one last enemy I think is good to talk about is the regenerators.
Oh,
they were terrifying in the original, and they're just as
they're
worse. Right in saying
They're worse
slither
in
on
this
the
one.
ground now, which is new.
yeah, and they move a lot faster as well in this
It
one.
made no difference if they're terrifying or not. I hated them in the first, and I hate them in the second one.
But
Yeah.
they're iconic. I think they're one of
Yeah.
the best enemies ever.
They're just so
It's the
ridiculous.
sniffling and-
Oh,
Yeah.
and everything as if, are you already hated it? Nope, they still keep coming.
Yeah, brilliant. And I wouldn't mind like that first bit, like in the remake. You don't have the scope for a while.
No, you don't. No, it's just
All you can do is run.
basically.
You just
When
run,
I was playing through the playthrough, when I had to use only the handguns, I had to fight off a lot of them just using handguns, and you can imagine trying to kill them. It took forever, and I had to use the likes of especially the Punisher and the Blacktail, because they were the quickest firing handguns, and I literally just had to just shoot the hell out of them before they died. And now, lucky enough, when you fully do those guns up, they are powerful enough, but it still took ages to kill them. But you were just kind of hitting pot shots, hoping you'd actually hit that you'd hit the parasites. Yeah, and the Punisher was the best gun for that, because obviously it has the extra damage it does with the penetration effect. But yeah, it was part luck, but you did get it eventually. But Jesus, not before you nearly crap yourself doing it. Like you're like, this isn't. Because you keep shooting and shooting and shooting. You're like, this is never going to stop. He's never going to die. You know, you're like, when is it going to end?
Saying you better, I learned quickly. You just run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I learned that not so quick. Because, you know, me, I'm always like, fight first, ask questions later. And it was only when I was like, no ammo left. And the only thing I could do was, right, I was like, I've shot this guy a load of times. There's bound to only be one left. I picked up me, the MP5 to look down the scope. Dude, it didn't even hit one of the organs. And I was out of ammo, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, I got to run. I have no choice. I have to run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I actually used to get to the point, like, I do the bit where you have to, they're all in the body bags and they're hanging.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that bit, yeah, geez, terrifying. Yeah.
Spiky fuckers as well.
Oh, the Iron Maidens.
Oh, is that what they're called? Iron
Yeah.
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 Dude, I don't like them one. They were terrible.
No. And that whole thing where you have to kind of like open the door and jump under just to get, no. And like, I didn't know what was in those bags. You could see it moving, right? But I wasn't expecting.
I
Regenerate.
had me suspicions. I had me suspicions right off the bat. I was like, smells like a trap.
I agree with you. I kind of knew before when I seen that bag shaking, going, oh no, here we go again.
I didn't even think to look down the scope to see if there was anything there.
I did. I looked at the thermal scope and I went, oh no. Just to see the shape. And I was like, I know what that is.
I can imagine you missed a lot of shots with that.
I had no ammo. That's what a surprise.
Visual purposes.
It was just like my whole game plan was run, get it to come out, and try and give it the old, slip around, get it. I'm going to go left now, trick you out, right, boom, go. Yeah.
No, that sounds really, really good.
And then when I got in the other room, there was two of them. I'm like, no, there's three of them. Is there three or two in the
No,
other?
it's two. Two is the next one you have to get through under the door.
Yes.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, there's one. There's one in by the crank that you have to wind.
Yeah.
And then there's one when you're trying to run past that to get to the door. It's like, no.
And dude, horrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to certainly complete the game first off, because basically I'm like yourself, Eddie. I had no ammo, all I had was a fucking handgun, and that was it, and probably one herb to heal myself, and that'll probably be it.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was the worst thing though, Steve, right? You're probably have a few jars and that's why you're missing your shots. I have no excuse. I mean, I'm just sober. I mean, I'm just going like, panicking and then, I'm decorating the walls of bullet holes, you know what I mean?
It's a form of art.
Literally, you heard of Banksy, I did a Vetti.
Oh, Jesus.
Vincent Van Veddy.
Yeah. One of them was trying to rip my ear off anyway.
So I guess that's kind of all the enemies dealt with. I want to talk just a wee bit more in detail about maybe Ashley and the improvements they've done this time round overall. I thought,
Huge improvements.
the voice acting was far better, dialogue was far better, and even the part where you have to take over as her in Leon's trap that's enjoyable. It's terrifying. For me, that's when the game went full on survival horror.
Oh, that part scared the crap out of me.
It reminded me of a game that Peter used to play. It was about a girl and it was all about clocks. What was that one, Peter?
Clock Tower.
Clock Tower.
It was all about clocks. Yeah, Clock Tower. That's it. It's just because Ashley did look a wee bit like the girl from that game, But it was again, like you say, that was a hair-raising moment, and like you'd hear the armor clunking, and it's again the importance of sound and creating tension.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're a mile away, but when you start hearing that sound getting louder, and you're like, oh, I know what's coming.
That was definitely one of the best moments in the game, like in terms of like fear, because it really dialed that up. you know,
Definitely
something
the,
serious.
the most survival horror
Yeah,
section.
yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Again though, in the original, you were hoping Ashley would get caught. This one, you were like, oh, I really don't want to get caught.
Yeah, yeah.
She didn't get kidnapped as many times this time around compared to the original though, which was good.
Well, my opinion of it was, like, and then when you play the original, you know what's coming. So when I got to the castle, I got so far into seeing Leon on capture. I went, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no, I went, oh, no, I have to control this little beep. And I'm going, but you know what? See, when I did play it, I actually totally enjoyed it. It was a lot more enjoyable than the original. It really, really was. Now,
Yeah, there was no stupid like, stop looking, you pervert. All that stuff was gone, and even the options of you didn't even have to stand around to catch her. She would just jump down eventually.
Yeah.
She did it herself.
Yeah,
there's a lot more elements in the remake that do what was
the
totally
co-op elements was definitely a lot better. I enjoyed the wrecking ball thing. That was all right, you know.
Well, if you listen to the dialogue as well, there is kind of quite a few quips where she does actually genuinely try to flirt with Leon, but Leon is completely oblivious to it.
Leon's he's got only one person in his mind at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly begins with A.
It does.
And ends with the
Oh,
But
Yeah,
them changes needed, or so them changes were needed, and they did it well. I have to say.
Yeah.
Isn't there a line in the original? Was it cut from this one, or did they keep it in? Wasn't it Lewis was saying about the president's daughter's got some ballistics?
yeah. No, they thought that was cut out.
Oh, it was cut out.
Yeah, yeah.
We were playing the game, and at one point I saw her. She was like, "Did she have a jacket to begin with, or something?" And then
No, in the original game she did. No,
no, in this one,
in this one she did. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, she eventually gets rid of the jacket.
yeah.
It's like that line came into my head straight away. It's like, oh, so the president's daughter's like, some ballistics. But
You know what's the mad thing? The only thing, like, when I was playing that the whole time, I kept just thinking about that mission from Resident Evil 6 when you find the president dead. I don't know why, it just kept, every time they mentioned the president,
Yeah.
I kept thinking about that. And to me, like, I felt like the Resident Evil 6 should have just been that should have been the whole game. That area.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, should have been.
But no, like, it's just like little things, like, you know, she felt more relatable. She felt like an actual person and not like a Hollywood,
She wasn't
child character.
Yeah, spoiled brat. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So we're all in of the same opinion. As
yeah.
all agree in that one.
huge improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, huge.
All right.
Definitely.
So we move along. So in terms of areas, we talked about the village. We talked about the lakes. I think we can move on now to the castle area. The design of the castle.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, the architecture and everything was something
but you
else.
know that room you get into, I think, is it when you first meet Salazar?
Yeah.
And you're in like a lobby or like a, you know, the merchant's just in the first area on the right, and then and then you go up the steps and in, and you've the smoke just kind of like along the floor. I was looking at that and I said, that was the first photo mode for me.
Yeah.
It just looked incredible. Like, I was like, Jesus, it's so atmospheric. Like,
It's not even that. When you even get to later on, when he drops you down the hole, and like you meet those bugs for the first time, and their green eyes under the water.
yeah, is it?
I thought that was cool.
What were they called? Novistador, is it? No, or is that the flying ones?
No, Mr. Door. It sounds like a drink. Like, I'll have 2 shots in the Vistador, por favor.
But I think
I'll drink it.
I think that's what they were called. No, maybe I'm wrong.
Tell you what, Steve-O, you need to start making some drinks now. You need to give me an El Gigante and the rocks between the Vistador. Stat. Let's go.
I can tell you. Staff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there.
And then Vistador chaser, please.
And the Vistador chaser Give me 6 big Gizlos.
El Gigante.
Yeah, we could be onto a little business idea here.
El Gigante.
Here, have you any bottles of Las Plagas, no?
They'll not be walking out with red eyes, let me tell you.
That'll be the replacement for Sambuca.
There's any bartenders listening to the show, hit us up with some Resident Evil cocktails. Steve will drink them on the next podcast.
I'll be the taster. I'll let you know what they're like.
Oh my God.
He'll give you his honest opinion.
You just
When you walk in the doors, I don't care what to do. Because you wouldn't be welcome to pay the money dead on.
all you'll hear is this is the answer.
Do what's better.
Oh, wow.
Doors.
Hey, you sound just like them.
Exactly, yeah. That's what it is. Basically, Resident Evil 4 is a village of alcoholics.
I'm done there. We're on to something. There's no
Drop no calls.
Tell you what, they
on
could
to something.
so you're telling me, Diggs, you just could have shot Resident Evil in Ireland then?
Absolutely.
We're on to something good here. Definitely.
Oh man.
Because these are no problem in pronouncing S. And that's a fact.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a great idea. Taking notes.
Some bartender now is just thinking, I was needing names for shots.
Yeah. I'm gonna steal those ideas now.
I was walking down the street. I'm telling you, we're on to something.
I'm telling you, we need to open the first ever Resident Evil team bar. What would you call this?
Oh. Well, I can't say the Residents of Evil because that's already taken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking first aid spray.
Well, put us well, nobody's going to get it when we're in this.
I know.
That's for damn sure.
That's exactly it.
No, it's
Call it the merchant. I got some for you. I don't know why he's invite me. I sidetrack everything.
What do you call the enemy in Remake 1? The
Crimson
spring-
Head.
Crimson Head, yeah. The Crimson Head in.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a brilliant one. The Crimson Head in. Yeah. It sounds like something you see in a Simon Pegg movie. We're going to have 6 shots in the Crimson Head in, stagger over to the merchant, and polish one off in the El Gigante.
getting introduced to you.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back.
Sorry, lads. My bad again.
Stop feeding them. Stop feeding them.
I know.
Feeding the beast.
Don't ask me any more questions.
So, where were we anyway? Oh, we were talking about the castle, the level design of the castle.
Well, I lost count.
Yeah, we were. No, I was saying.
Don't you go off on one now.
No.
But we talk about the castle and I can't think of what those enemies are called. They're not Ganados, right? The guys in the cloaks.
Oh, I know the one.
The monk type dude.
Are they the Garrador? No, the Garrador is the
No, the arrows, the guys with the Wolverine claws, yeah.
The guy you're talking about, the guy in the red robe with the ram's head skulls.
Aye, but even the ones in the black robes.
Yeah, they're almost like monks, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. But anyway, look, we're talking about them, like. But even like the guy in the red robe, like he's very prominent in this one. I know he was in the original, but the fact that when you get close to him, like
He is a direct control over all of the.
and he has an effect on you too, because your vision and all that starts kind of going.
if you don't kill him quick enough, the Plagas pops out of your head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't know
happened to
that.
me. Happened to me. Of course, it happened to me. I was fighting him, and it's
You're timing that here.
you have a time limit to kill him before he kills you.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So any time, what is he saying? I can't remember what he's saying, but he's saying it on repeat, and every time if you watch the guys around you, every time he says it, till this Plagueis pops out of their head. But if
Yeah.
you don't get him killed before he pops the last guy, you're the next one. So it is
Right.
your head
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
next, and then you die.
Because he features it in a few places.
Yeah,
I never died there, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually that's in it.
yeah.
But I just thought, you know, he's done a lot better. Like, you know, the part where you go into is it the cellar, the wine cellar?
That's the part where he got me.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of them all around,
Yeah.
but he's at the back, and you have to kill him to get something off the key, I think, or something.
That's the key. Yeah,
Yeah, it's part of the puzzle to get out.
it is.
I just thought that was brilliant. You know, like even that room itself, the level design of that there was really good.
Again, it was. I like the way it gives you several options to go about it too. Like it gives you replayability. So you can go one way, you can go the other way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I know the first time I played, I just let them all come to me.
Yeah.
I just
Did you?
shoot them all and go after him. Then
See,
But-
that's tactical marky there. Me, I'm just going Leroy Jenkins. I just charge in, you know. But you know, that's no wonder why I have no ammo.
yeah,
You know,
wonder.
but yeah, I know because the first time I did it, I ran in, yeah, and then I killed a few guys, and then I realized, oh crap, I have no ammo. So I was knifing them, and then he kept chanting, and then
Yeah.
it popped open, and then because at first the Leon started doing weird stuff because every time he was chanting, but towards the end the screen was going weird, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, if you get too close to them, the screen goes all distorted.
Yeah, and then when he chanted the last time, Leon stopped, and his arms went down by his side, and I'm like, what's going on? And the thing just popped out of his head, and I was like, oh,
You are dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah, that's it. But that's a cool feature. I didn't.
It
I'm
is.
gonna try that myself.
Yeah, like if you get to there, just you know, kill some of the guys, but let him continue chanting because he'll see.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, the castle itself had some really good set pieces on it. I'm trying to think after, because you fought Salazar in the castle, right? But there was another boss fight, wasn't there? Oh,
There is the Verdugo. Is that the?
Yes, the Verdugo. Yeah, he's in when you get dropped down into the caves,
Yeah,
underground.
yeah. And
Yeah.
dude, that gave me, for some reason, that gave me alien vibe. Alien.
Yeah. But he looks like what do you call it? What's the alien?
Xenomorph.
Xenomorph? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah.
But it was
Looked very like
the
it.
whole- It was just the whole way he was moving, like going through the vents, and
Yeah,
it was again terrifying because I don't know. Did you guys kill him on the first go round?
no,
No.
I ended up running.
So like, if you didn't kill him on the first go round, like he's still out there in the game. That's the way I was looking at it.
He's still alive somewhat.
Still out there somewhere. I'm afraid to get to the toilet tonight.
Yeah, he was. No, I have to admit, it's slightly different. I think is the fight with him this time. I know he still kind of chases you into certain rooms and that, but what was the difference this time? Oh, that's right. The vents would blow down the cold air,
Yeah.
freezing. But it was canisters, wasn't it? And
Yeah, it was like canisters of nitrogen. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, he was terrifying when he was chasing you. You were just like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah, because the first time I lined up my shot, there's a canister in the hall, and I was like, I got you now. Shot it. Nothing happened. And I reckon they did that on purpose, you know.
Yeah,
I reckon they thought
absolutely.
returning players are going to think, yeah, shoot this, and then that's that. And when I shot it and nothing happened, my God, the panic that hit me is like, he's right there.
I'd say they've got something in the game that they can tell when people shoot them.
I'm pretty sure they got me for sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah, it was a good fight. Like, I mean, it was very true to the original, I have to say.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, that was. But I think isn't that it? Oh, we had the El Gigante this time, the second time. No, third time, should I say?
Yeah. Are we outside the castle?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was what he was throwing. He was a pain. That was a nuisance. That bit.
Get the fucking cannon.
That's new.
Yeah.
Like, that's all new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new bit.
I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good.
Something
Yeah.
new. It was something new.
Am I right in remembering he comes up to the drawbridge when you walk close to the end?
Yeah.
Comes back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything. I was like,
just-
oh, no,
Try and grab you again.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was thinking. It was the fake out. Because I think that's the one you fight later on, isn't it? It's the same one. It's a normal one.
Could be.
Yeah, it's an armored one on top. Yeah.
Yeah, because in my mind, it was like he didn't die, but he fell down somewhere, and then that's the one we're fighting. You know, anyway,
Yeah.
that's my mind.
Yeah. No, I think, well, you fought the two, wasn't it, after the underground section where you blow up the... Was it? Yeah, you blow up the dynamite? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, in the mines.
Yeah. Yeah, so you fought them, the two of them there. One's armoured, one's not. And then the last one is on that, as I say, in the castle. He's in the middle section.
Yeah, that bit was tough. Now you could bypass that if you had the infinite rocket launcher on your. If you were playing it again, you didn't need to go in to that bit. That was the one thing I liked about it as well. Like later into the game, when you got the specific weapons and stuff, you could actually shortcut or bypass a lot of the areas in the game, which I thought was pretty cool, and it was good for the speed runs.
Yeah, I like that they added those sections with the gate weights,
Yeah,
because that wasn't in the original, right?
no,
No.
Yeah, that was a nice. I love the fact that they've added new stuff, so they freshen it up a little bit.
yeah,
It makes me wonder, because the way, like, was it last year or 2 years ago, Shinji Mikami said, like, 40% of the game was cut, the original
yeah.
game.
Like even do
was that in it?
you remember the big Salazar statue? Do you remember that part where you had to go and flick all these switches, and and you had to run away from it, and there was the quick time events, and it kept chasing you across the bridge. Yeah. I think that it was good removing that, because I thought that bit was, even though it was cool at the time, but I thought it was quite silly, in the original game.
It was stupid, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad, yeah, you're right. I'm glad too that they cut that bit out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. And then you have the island after it. I thought the island was very much true to the original.
Yeah. It was,
I don't think it changed anything. There were certain elements further on, like the wrecking ball thing was new.
Yeah, they did change certain bits. Once you got past the first section of it where the helicopter first comes in, before they blow open the hole in the gate so that you can go through. Don't remember in the original game, it was kind of like a maze, like a labyrinth you had to go through, and you had to flick a switch. You had to kill one of them kind of brute type dudes, the guys with the Gatling guns. And then you'd go across like a zip line and flick a switch, and like a couple of different switches, and then you'd be able to open a gate. But in this one, you had to you actually had to go through a different tower that was up on the right hand side, and you had to fight a load of enemies, and then you had to get on one of those turrets, because if you didn't use the grenades to kill that big turret that was shooting at the helicopter, you had to go up and use one of them smaller turrets to shoot at the big cannon itself.
Yeah.
And that's, and that was different compared to the original, Plus, at times it could be quite tough if you weren't really sure of the enemy placements, because some of them actually had rocket launchers. I actually did get killed a couple of times, fellas shooting rockets at me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in that part. So you had to be
onslaught the island. I know it wasn't the original too, but Jesus, it just felt like holy crap, like just non-stop action on the island. And
It's just even that, like, that's where you meet the regenerator. Sorry,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, even the whole setup to that, like, if you're a returning player, you know what's coming, and the anxiety's just rampant.
Yeah.
The fact that you're running around with those key cards and you can only see, certain bits, I was like, oh my God. If you're terrified of the dark already, well, here, you're not sleeping tonight.
More atmosphere about it. That's I'd say that's what I love about it. Well, it's not for everybody, but I definitely enjoyed it.
yeah, no, it was good. No, the island and all that was really good. I enjoyed the helicopter bit. Can't think of the guy's name that comes in to help you. His accent was funny.
I know. And he never did get that beard, poor fecker.
I know, yeah. I was wondering would they change that a little bit, but no.
I know. But they did change the way he died, because he got shot with a rocket the last time.
Yeah.
This time it's the... I don't know.
No Vistadors.
Yeah.
It's the flying things.
Flying things, yeah.
At least the doors puff of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took him out, yeah.
Thank you, please.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to admit, even like Here's the one thing that I don't like about the game. It's the only thing. That scene after you rescue Ashley for what would be the last time she's finally with you,
Yeah.
and the two of you have to go and get the plagas extracted.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, that section where it's almost like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
It's like, this is pissing me off. I'm just,
Yeah, it's very
all I
long.
can do is push up on the controller and waiting till it's done.
Yeah.
I was like, they could have
interact or not.
no, you just had to grin and bear it, and then you were seeing the shadowy figures. I thought, this is a bit pointless. Like, they're not going to do anything to you. It's just hallucinations. And I just thought, this is a very long-winded,
It was a kind of dragged it out a wee bit.
it's not even a cinematic. Like,
No.
it would have been better if they had you could skip, but that's my only gripe in the entire game.
I know where you're coming from, because when that was happening, I thought something was going to happen during that phase.
Yeah, I
Nothing
did.
did.
No.
It was just dragged and out and dragged and out. You couldn't do nothing but just basically walk or crawl.
Here's a quick question I want to ask is, see that big, obviously there's the plagas, the Ada take, which is the dominant plagas, right?
Mm.
Did it show that in Resident Evil 4, or was it just she was collecting a sample the last time?
I think in the original game, it was come across more that it was just a sample. It didn't
Yeah.
have anything to do with,
'Cause-
yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was the one full Jurassic Park with it, with this one, like this thing caught in what looks like amber or something,
Yeah.
And I thought it did, I thought it added to the story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it would make sense then why Wesker would want that, because if you wanted a sample, surely she could have just dropped into the island, killed the Canado, took its blood and skipped out. There's the job done,
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, like, let's talk about like the story, the ending. I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought the fight with Sadler was pretty good this time. Like it was kind of very similar to the original.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I had to admit, it was really good.
It was similar to the last one, but like I said, this time better mechanics, also better gameplay, better graphics. Yeah,
Sadler looked way better too.
Yeah.
that adds to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I found unless when you didn't have like their super strong weapons, the mine thrower with them darts with the explosive rounds, and I thought that was one of the most effective weapons to use on him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was.
Sure. That's a very underrated gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
I remember when I bought it the first time, I was like,
yeah, remember.
"Did you were on the road to
Oh, you were like, this is a load of shit.
I was like, I guess take that, pull the trigger, and it wasn't a mine dart, it was just a dart, and the guy's looking at me, he's just saying like, "Is that it?" And I'm like, "Oh, please don't kill me." I was
It's like that. Is that all you got?
I was like, "Don't buy this gun, it's crap."
Yeah, I remember you said that to me. Don't waste your money on that.
Yeah, it's crap.
Terrible.
It is. But it's mad, like, it just goes to show you, like, you have to sometimes pay attention to, like, the gun is like, yes, you have to click the controls to prime the darts for, having the explosive rounds and stuff on them,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed, like I said, everything about the game, like, as you were saying, talking about the ending, how did you feel about the appearance of Wesker and how his character looks to be, like, he's very different than he was in the original. I liked the new Wesker a lot more than the one that was at the end of 4.
Yeah, it was kind of less hysterical madman type thing, wasn't it? It was more cold, calculated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just want to
You see,
watch the world burn.
yeah, because the old Wesker give you very much the theatrical villain vibe. Like, it's like
You described it perfectly to me. You called him like a Shakespearean
a
villain.
Shakespearean villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, he looks more like a man with a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm?
He has an end game and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And as even his attire, like you can see he's wearing the holster and the shirt and all. That again, you know, the way I always speculate, that for me makes me think that they're going to go, if they do Resident Evil 5, I think they're going to totally, if they do continue the remake universe, they're going to alter the timeline now for the next game.
Quite possibly.
I don't think Wesker's going to be this, you know, cheesy Matrix film if he appears in an old game.
I really hope not. It was one of the worst things about 5.
Yeah. See if they announce.
It was cool at the time, but looking back, yeah, it was very over the top.
It's dated.
Yeah.
It's like somebody got the Matrix.
It was just that's what I was going to say. Somebody watched the Matrix that weekend and went, "I know what we do, guys.
Yeah.
Let's turn Wesker into Neo."
I think you need some leather. And again, alter the timeline. If they do decide to do a 5 remake, I'll be making a petition. Please keep Wesker normal and don't kill him.
And no punching boulders.
Oh yeah, no punching bullet. That's the train prerequisite.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Just no punching boulders.
I've won.
Was it the case that the Red Red is that where you had to push it or punch a boulder to hurt us?
I just went to an arcade.
What was the reason behind it? Because to me it was stupid.
I felt at that point I was playing Street Fighter.
Like it was just
I thought like, oh, that's something you'd see in Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
It was done as like a god, you know. No, come on, man. This is Resident Evil, you know. It's normal men.
I enjoyed Resident Evil, but when it came to that fight, I just like no.
You know, I think when people got to that fight, they were all hoping a rematch of the Code Veronica one.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
They all wanted to see that Chris had leveled up quite clearly. He got himself some growth hormone, and he got a wee bit jacked, you know. So he was obviously clearly training for the rematch. But you know what I mean. You would have liked to have seen, like, if just I don't know, just a better, none of that weird stuff. Yeah,
better gameplay experience, and that's how he's being honest.
Yeah. Oh, look, sure. We can only hope that that's what they're going to do.
Resident 5 is probably going to be the next remake, is it?
Well, it's hard to know. I mean, there's lots of rumors going around saying that the next in line in the numbered Resident Evil is the priority. So I suppose, but I guess we just have to wait and see. I mean, there's Summer of Games Festival coming up soon, so you might hear something.
Yeah, I might hear Little Dicky Bird.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's wrap up Resident Evil 4 remake. So is everybody feel like they've definitely improved on everything?
Yeah. Like every game, like there's always a few bits I think that'll always kind of be a bit frustrating. Like for me, the shooting range I think was pointless, and I was never a big fan of it in the original game anyway. But there was just bits of it that probably were like even the lake monster was a bit frustrating. But I suppose it's never going to be perfect. You know, there's always
Overall, in my opinion, top class.
Yeah, but it's still one of the best games I've ever played. Yeah.
I enjoyed the train ride with Luis. That was fun.
Yeah. That is that is one.
Who are you talking about?
Who?
The train ride with
All right.
Who are you talking about?
The minecart.
Yeah, the minecart. What are you talking about?
Yeah, here.
What did he start it off calling him? He says, remember he called Leon something, and Leon says, "Who you?"
Sancho.
Sancho.
I was going to say fucking comrade or something. No, don't call me that.
Yeah, no, it was good but I agree. I think Resident Evil 4 kind of exceeded my expectations. I did have some concerns after 3 cutting so much.
Yeah. But they definitely found a good balance with this one, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. It's a monster of a game. Think of the overall size of it.
Yeah.
You said earlier, you looked at the map and went like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Crazy.
Enormous. But
I do agree, I had my doubts, but to me, I think Resident Evil 3 was rushed. But Resident Evil 4...
They clearly had a lot more time to put into it.
There was time and there was parties there to help it make it be a success. Where 3... the success of Resident Evil 2, and it was just capitalising that. Yeah, get it out there quick. They'll buy it.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. So quickly, right, without going into too much detail, if you could only play Resident Evil 2 remake or Resident Evil 4 remake, what would you be picking?
That actually is one of the toughest questions you could possibly
Okay, well
ask.
then I'll go first, see, because I already have the answer. Two.
Yeah.
Two for me.
Too.
I was going to go 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's zombies. I just
Zombies.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they're both epic, but I would have to go with 2 because 2 was just phenomenal, and plus you can't beat Mr. X.
Yeah.
You know, that's enough said.
so what? Being honest, I agree with you because the
You're
different
two
scenarios
as well?
everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
There's these different scenarios, the longevity of it.
Because that game literally set the stage for everything that was to come after it, in fairness, like, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
first remake,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah.
not the first remake, obviously.
But it's the first modern remake in terms of
Yeah,
like
well,
since
sure.
the original, and it's the first one that's done right. You know,
Yeah.
because
I
we
just
always said that, like, going back, and we used to discuss like what type of ways they were going to do it when they were trying to figure out how they would do it, if it would be first person or third person. And like me and you, Dig, always had that discussion. We says we'd like it to be third person like Resident Evil 4, but if they put the horror elements in, if they found the balance. And the thing is, they did. They really did.
I think
you know.
it's like Resident Evil 4 was already an amazing game. Like, I know they say Resident Evil 2 was already an amazing game, but you were tank controls and you know, static camera angles, this, that, and the other. I just think the difference between the original Resident Evil 2 and then the remake Resident Evil 2 is just incredible.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a huge advocate of the old school games. That's just me. That's you know, I love the old school games anyway, because it's like we all know, it's the games that got us into what we advocate for today. So I definitely think they're definitely a landmark as such. But yeah, moving forward with the modern games, I think definitely.
To me, like playing Resident Evil 4, so I know there were. You think about the original, it was more kind of action based. Whatever. When they made the remake, they did bring some of that elemental horror back into the game. Where Resident Evil is a horror game, and that's what I liked. So Resident Evil is not an action game; it's a horror game, and they did bring that back in certain parts in the remake. And yeah, keep it coming.
Yeah.
Right, so we've covered the main story and all the stuff on the main story. So everybody saw the VR trailer for Resident Evil 4.
I've seen bits of it. Yeah. It does look really good. Yeah.
It looks class.
Steve, I know you're kind of like the resident VR guy, so you're planning on getting at least the VR 2. So this is a free upgrade, by the way. You won't even have to pay for this.
Nice. Nice.
The price of the VR is just it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But it looks, it looked like, do you remember like they had the Resident Evil 4 VR to come out, was it a year or two ago? On the Oculus? It looked like
in the
that
original,
to me,
yeah.
like, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the trailer footage to show that
I didn't see that one.
PlayStation showcase, you can visually see the knife in one hand and the gun in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so-
VR 2 version.
That looks cool. That I'd say that it's going to be really good for the parrying gameplay. You know? So
I seen that for the trailer of the VR 2 and I went, ooh, nice. I went, I like that.
I wonder, would you be able to play the entire campaign in VR, or is it just going to be elements of the
No, well,
scenario?
to me personally, if they're going to release in VR, it has to be the fun game. It can't be just bits and pieces of it. No, it has to be the fun.
You can imagine the Krauser fight in the VR mode. That'd be mental.
That'll be class.
Yeah.
That would him right up in the face.
Yeah.
class until he teleports behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's behind you and they're looking, oh, where is he? Oh, that'll be class. That'll be sweet.
Oh, absolutely.
But the price of the VR too, that's the problem.
Oh, right. No, I'm looking here. It's confirmed you can play the full main story in VR.
Nice.
And it's a free DLC for the PlayStation 5. I wonder, is that... it has
But it's not on the VR one though.
No. Sure, the VR 1 is dead now. I don't think they'll...
Yeah. Exactly. That's the second problem I have with it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's dead in the solar, dude.
So hopefully you'll be getting VR when we all come into your house.
Oh, it'll be. There's no point saying I won't. I will.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the truth. I will.
What about Mercenaries? I'm ashamed to say I haven't even tried it yet.
Yeah,
Has anybody played?
I finished it now because the mercenaries is like, yeah, it's good to get the hand cannon if you can't get it through the normal playthrough because it can be tough. I will admit, but I know it's good. It's very fast paced, but I found it disappointing compared to the original because the original had more characters that you can unlock. Now I know that they've deliberately held back on allowing you to unlock different characters. They just haven't put them in. I don't know whether they're still going to put them in as DLC, but the ones that are there,
Leon, Ada.
Ada and Luis, you can play as.
I
Or is it? Oh no, actually no, it's Hunk. Sorry, Hunk.
Yeah.
I think. I
But who's going to say Wesker is unlockable, isn't he?
Wesker was supposed to be in it because I know he was in the original, but the benefit that you had with the original one was when you completed the mercenary modes, like with the hand cannon, it gave you other additional features, like especially remember with the Nintendo Wii version, you got access to, it wasn't just the rocket launcher, but you got access to this like kind of like plasma cannon that could literally kill groups of enemies all in one go. And that was, that was mental, and you needed to complete the mercenaries and get an S rank on all of the levels to get that. And that made your your professional playthroughs a lot easier. So it did, you know. Whereas with this game now, they've kind of cut back on a lot of stuff. And sure, you know yourself, like with everything with most games, the one thing I don't like is everything's behind a paywall now. You know, you have to wait until DLC comes out to pay more money and blah blah blah.
Segue on to Separate Ways DLC.
Yeah.
There's suspicion that that's going to be behind a paywall.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would be.
And what is the Separate Ways? Is that Ada?
Yeah.
It has a campaign in the original game. It's actually not bad.
Because there was a point. Because there was a point in that Separate Ways game where Krauser, even though Leon had killed him, but apparently he came back periodically in the Separate Ways, and Ada had to fight him again, and then finish him off. So
am I right in saying in the original Separate Ways, you know, Ada's on the outskirts of the village while Leon's going through his. Am I right in saying that Ada shoots the bell, the church bell?
Yeah,
and stops. It's her, right?
I think it was her originally in the original game. Yeah,
I remember that because I know it was sort of like it was done like in Resident Evil 2. You had your scenarios where Claire would be in a certain area and Leon to be in a certain area, and I think that's how they done Separate Ways. And originally, how they done it was it was Ada who shot the church bell.
Yeah.
Stop the attack.
I love stuff like that. That to me just shows like a connected story, man.
Yeah,
it's the same story but another perspective. I like that.
It will be interesting to see because, like, even though they kind of did tell somewhat of a story in that, I do remember, but it was still quite vague. Whereas with this one, I hope that they actually really intertwined it into the main story. You know, that kind of way. You know, I'd imagine that you'd expect it to probably be even a wee bit longer as well. I'd say.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Some extra gameplay.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So hopefully. Well, see the PlayStation Showcase. I thought we were going to see Separate Ways at that, but no, it was actually quite disappointing.
Yeah.
But anyway, in terms of future Resident Evil, what's everybody's hopes? You know, do you want to see more remakes, or would you like to see the next and the numbered?
I suppose, like you were saying there, like the numbered ones will probably get a preference, and I think that is the one that's currently in development from news that's been popping up recently. But I think, I would like to see more remakes again, but I'd like to see 5 being redone in a different format, maybe even 6. But to do 5, I think even removing the likes of the co-op, because that time when Resident Evil 5 came out, because the problem was every game literally had some sort of online, even though it didn't need it, but they still put it into it anyway because they were trying to compete with everybody else. I think that, like, I remember we were discussing before, I think that even Veddy, we touched on this last time in the last episode, that if you were to do that they have like separate scenarios that intertwine with each other for both characters. Like you know, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
you can play as Sheva or you can play as Chris.
Yeah,
or you could even do you could even have it that if you wanted to do it one way, like they didn't want to go down the whole road of having to make 2 separate scenarios because maybe it might be space intensive for the game, or again they could do it that at certain points of the game you switch characters.
Yeah, Even that too, yeah, because it would add a lot more depth to it, the whole scenario, like.
Because we did, because we do that with I was going to say fucking Eric in there, but we do it with Ashley in this
Yeah.
one, like.
Yeah.
So, like, who's to say at a certain point in time, you couldn't have the character switch to Sheva.
Yeah,
Look, as I said to Diggs, the only problem I feel they're going to have is if they go the road of six. Six is going to be very hard to remake because there's so much in it.
there's so much in it, yeah.
That game, wow. They'd have to divide it.
They'd have to, yeah, if they divide it up into separate games, like say part 1, part 2, part 3.
Like they done with Revelations.
Yeah,
The technology's there now, they can do it. You know what I mean?
Or here's the crazy way to get out of that is to change the timeline from 5. That's the only way I think.
Yeah.
Like if they go down a different road where Wesker's still alive.
yeah, that could give us,
And then that way, then they're not pigeonholed into having. Because I think if they announced they were remaking 6, people wouldn't get that excited.
no.
And like when you think of a remake, like it's not a reimagining, really, is it? Like, I mean, if you look at any of the remakes, they've more or less told the same story. Whereas if you were telling 6's story again, you'd be just doing the same thing again.
I think that's the one thing like the Capcom have definitely done right. I know like Resident Evil 3 is kind of questionable, but there were certain elements in the game where they did do quite well in some regards. But the one thing they have done, especially with Resident Evil 2, even the original Resident Evil 1 remake, that they managed to change certain dynamics but still keep it true to the original. Resident Evil 4 did the exact same. So if they could keep that outline going forward with the future games, I think they're definitely onto something, and I think they can do it. They proved that they can do it with the current games. So, but it's still, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. So if everybody, what do you like, Mark?
Well, just before we finish, just my opinion. I know they're probably going to remake Resident Evil 5, but I have to say I would love a remake of Resident Evil 7, but to PS5 standards. Most of all, what I would love is a remake of Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and see Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. See the remake of all them.
Well, Code Veronica as well, definitely.
Veronica as well,
Yeah.
See if they remade them.
This is what I was thinking.
That. I think that.
I would love to see the remake, but I don't think they're going to go back as far as 0 and 1 because
They probably won't, but I think it needs it, but I don't think they will. But I think it needs it.
You'd be looking at 6-7 years of development.
Yeah, that's the thing.
To be honest with you, if I was going to be doing that now, and we're like 3 remakes in, I wouldn't want to be going backwards.
No.
Think about it. But we had Resident Evil 1, 2, was it 3, and then how many Resident Evils did we have before the release 0?
Yeah, because there was a few times where they did kind of go back over themselves, and they did it with the Outbreak series as well.
Before that went back to 0, was it?
Oh, it was good to you.
Was it 3?
But you think about that, they had Resident Evil 4. Well, again, that was probably, when you look at they're doing the remake and all for 0, that was probably a filler title.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's filler title. Exactly.
But it was still static cameras as well.
Yeah.
So like they put,
good game.
Tommy thought we'll fill that, we'll get a bit of money coming in while we, obviously they're having to expend money to make it, but while they work on the AAA project, right? I honestly think if this is my mind, right? If they were to alter the timeline, right, after 4, who's to say the next in line couldn't be Code Veronica? Even though it's slightly different now, you could have it that because we've seen Wesker now. I think it would be better to do Code Veronica and have it that it happens later in line down in this universe.
It's in between. When Code Veronica comes in, 3, 4. It's actually nearly in between.
But when was, how many years was, I know it says in the intro, how many years was 4 after 2?
6.
6, right? So Claire was in 2.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that Code Veronica was at least a number of years after 2.
It was only 3 months after 2 and 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh,
3
wow.
months.
Yeah, that's all.
After the storyline of 2.
Yeah,
Jeez, I
Yeah.
forgot
See,
about
You see, I think it would be more realistic as well, like for the likes of having Claire to be,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
3 months. I know she's looking for Chris. That was the only thing it didn't make sense to me. She's looking for Chris, and then Chris shows up at the end.
yeah.
that. So what if they combine both of them? You know, because Chris is the protagonist in 5,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Claire, you know, she was the protagonist in Code Veronica. Well, you could have some sort of like, you're right, like you could have,
For game, straight away.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
guess so, but like, you know, you'd be altering timelines and for sure.
again, if someone's, I think honestly, if Capcom was to say to the fan base, right, listen, I know you've enjoyed the remakes, but here's the direction.
Go back.
Here's
Yeah,
the,
that would be pretty good. Yeah, I have to admit.
Go for
I-
it, definitely. But
Yeah,
I
I'd like to see-
in the later on a remake of 0 and
Yeah,
another one of 1, definitely.
but I'd like I think the likes of 5, I would like to see a retelling.
Yeah, definitely.
5 and 7. As we were talking about earlier, 6, that's going to take a lot of work. I don't know. Like, it can be done, but Jesus.
I would think if you told the story of 5 right, if you were going to do another one to continue, you pick one of the campaigns for 6, and that's your entire story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd add on to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, try to combine the whole lot.
Well, you think of
Play it for it.
Yeah, if you think of 6, like nobody else in 6 has been seen since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, I haven't.
Oh, Chris is the only.
Well, Chris, yeah, but apart from him, but there's nobody else.
No, I mean when you think of Leon hasn't been seen since 6.
You see, I don't mind that because Leon, I think he has probably the most outings in all the Resident Evil games, or he's
Yeah.
on par with Chris at least.
Yeah. Who was it was Sherry and Jake, right?
Sherry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they
I
like
can see.
technically you could just not bother with them.
Yeah, because I to be honest
Like,
with
what
you,
is the story with them anyway?
Well, that's the only games they've been in, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Like,
Well, Jake is Wesker's son, so
Yeah, but where does it go from there? Like,
yeah.
and think about it.
That's the only ties, really.
I know, like,
I honestly felt they put Jake Wesker in the game just to have Wesker in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it. It was just to have the name that so people
I think so, yeah.
what's the deal with Wesker?
well,
Yeah.
to me, what ruined Rasco was Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what ruined him.
But like I say,
If the retail 5, I think they have an opportunity to
Yeah.
you know blend it into the later Resident Evils.
yeah, because you could even do, again, here I am pitching my Resident Evil, but like at the end of 5, he gets really, like, you could have him get disfigured or something by Chris, and then he cuts and runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that way you still have your big bad villain that can work in the background for future games, and then when you do decide to pull the trigger and kill him, you can have it that he's been working to an end game, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think, in my opinion, they should have left him dead at the end of Resident Evil 1.
Do you?
Yeah, it just
no.
I think the story would have been, and then you could have moved on to somebody in Umbrella then as to the protagonist. You know,
I still
I thought it was Debbie. I said,
I still
Okay.
think that everyone has that, like, everyone wants that big bad guy, like, and
he was the ultimate bad guy in 1.
yeah,
Like when you look at all of the movies that are coming out, like even all of the CGI movies, like literally every single one of them, even the one that was on Netflix, there's always seems to be some sort of kind of like antagonist or ex-scientist or bad guy that's just pops out of the woodwork that always tries to do like what Wesker was doing. It's like they're trying to all finish off what he started, you know, that kind of way. You know, and they all just seem to be popping up out of the woodwork, like, you know, which is mad too, like. So there's definitely something there.
Look, I know I said that like he should have left him dead in the first one because he wasn't in Resident Evil 2, right?
No.
Right, then he wasn't in Resident Evil 3.
No.
So your next time you saw him was 4. So maybe like they wrote him a little bit better now, that because I just feel like he's always been there, you know. It's like, oh God, here we go again. He's back. But if they write him better than in 5, then I'll be happy to have him back.
Yeah. So all we can do is wait and see.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. You could have him that he gets into a scrap with Chris, and like even if they want to go down the road of that lava pit, obviously no bunker punching. You could have him that he gets all burnt or something, and then he escapes. You know what I mean? You could have somebody rescues him or some shit, and then then you don't see Wesker. He goes back to being a background figure for a while, and it's then you can focus on different things. You know what I mean? Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's me pitching again.
Yeah. Well, I think for me personally, I think I'm kind of hoping to see the next in the series, next new game. And I'd be even more kind of intrigued to see if they'll go back to over the shoulder permanently.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking they will, because when you look at Village, like they released a whole kind of over the shoulder expansion for that game. And I know like I don't know if you've got them, but like Capcom sent out like questionnaires to everybody.
I think people prefer the over the shoulder.
And you could vote. Which one do you prefer? And I said over the shoulder.
I think everybody. I think the majority of people voted for it as well.
It just feels more Resident Evil.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
You
used to seeing your character on screen.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, 7 was an amazing game as a first-person game, but I just love my Resident Evils over the shoulder.
But you see, this is like, obviously I was playing 7, right? Anxiety levels through the roof, on the verge of having a heart attack, right? But I said this to you, that it was a great game. It just, if you took out any mention of Umbrella, anything at all, it does not feel like Resident Evil. It's not a Resident Evil game. It's a game that has the Resident Evil bumper sticker on it, and if you take out Chris and a few references, it's a completely different IP.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it definitely is. But that's the way it is. That's it.
Just on a final note, what do you think of Resident Evil VR though? I know everyone has their own.
Well, I mean, I think the idea would be pretty good, but I can't play VR because VR gives me a headache. So
yeah, I actually find the same. Yeah.
I like the idea of playing Resident Evil. Like, if I was playing Resident Evil 2 VR, because I want to, that's it. But I mean, they've given us Resident Evil first person way back in the day, even on PS1, but the Unsurvivor games. Yeah. It just wasn't for me.
No, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know the VR, and I played 7, and then it opened me fucking mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to remember that game was specifically developed with VR in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I, be honest with you, Resident Evil VR first person, nope. Resident Evil should not be played in fucking first person. But I give it a chance and it worked. But going forward, will it be the same? Well, obviously with the VR 2, it probably will, but just looking for your opinions, do you think it'll work going forward? Is that what they're trying to do?
I would say I'd prefer if they had spin-offs in VR and not or, if they're making, like, say, Resident Evil 9's coming out, give it a VR mode if they want, but don't be making it like to be it.
I'm thinking that's kind of the lines they're going at now, going forward. Not saying fully 100%, but I'd say I'm probably about 70-30. I think they're probably going along the lines of going fucking.
Yeah.
Right, but I think it'll always be just like a mode, like an additional mode,
It'd have to be, because you couldn't just stop the normal player from playing the game. But the VR option's there, but.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. So I think we've covered pretty much.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted every avenue. I think so far. Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap it up before Mark diverts again.
I'm not going to divert. I'm just going to say
poop again.
No, you can't pitch in a Resident Evil.
I did literally. I was literally just thinking that.
You were fucking waiting for it.
Peter, cut the tapes. Right. Well, we wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks, guys, for joining and giving your opinion on Resident Evil 4 Remake. Look out for our next episode. We don't have a topic just yet, but we'll find one soon enough.
Yeah.
It's in a Resident Evil.
Yeah. It's in Resident Evil ASMR style.
You go to the Arkley Mountains. There's a zombie.
I've never heard a zombie roar before.
God, there's Peter, Jesus.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Nemesis.
That's it. Cut it. Bye.
It's a week.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for another episode, guys. Thanks for joining.